Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show, where no disease can prevent us
keeping us calm and letting us know what's going on.
from bringing you the best in sports talk.
Jim Boeheim.
Those guys have worked their tails off. I mean, it's all gone. You know, I don't know what the answers are. I just feel for all these college athletes that have worked their whole life, and now that's gone.
John Oren, Sports Business Journal. How do you quantify the impact that this is going to have on the sports world?
The trickle down, nobody knows anything. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what it's going to look like a week from now, 2 weeks from now, or a month from now. They're just trying to react more than plan out.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave.
You got a hobby?
This is Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the program. It's hour one on this Monday. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. Glad to have you on board no matter where you are. Stay a while if you can. We'll cover all the topics, certainly with football, with free agency, possibility of the Patriots adding a wide receiver and maybe welcoming back their star quarterback. Have all that for you coming up. You can watch if you like, youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. You can listen on our great radio affiliates around the country, numbering 362. We're fully assembled, but McLovin joins us from, I'm not sure if it's the lobby of his his apartment building or maybe a dentist office. But McLovin, we're glad to have you via Skype, via remote. His daughters are at home, so McLovin is staying with them. Good morning, McLovin.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Great.
Miss me? So, Dan, I took your suggestion, and I added a chalkboard behind me. You can't see it on radio, obviously, but I don't know if you can read that.
I can't.
A little homage.
I can't read it.
Woody Page was here per your suggestion.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
So I'll update that. But, yeah, all good. Hopefully kids won't scream into the show at any point.
Okay. You have some books in the background, I see.
Well, you know, my extensive library of, I think there's some Disney books. Yeah, that's a kid's bookshelf. Should I put like cool sports books? I've never done this kind of remote thing. I've never had a home studio.
When ESPN will go to Adam Schefter and he's at his home and he's got this beautiful mahogany hutch there and he's got awards there and helmets and footballs and you've got some, I don't even know what that is, a landscape photo behind you?
Yeah, there's something that I think like a dentist office around the corner was throwing out, and I'll be like, I'll take that.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good.
It's not even Ansel Adams, Stan. That's all I can say.
All right. Once again, McLovin is healthy. He's just at home with his daughters because school has been canceled in the New York, the tri-state area, I believe.
Yeah, we're canceled. Also, I'm socially isolating. Is it social distancing? So because the city is kind of quiet, like people aren't going out here and stuff. So everyone was told to lay low. That's part of it too.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you. No matter how we have you, we're glad to have you. The other guys are here. It's been fascinating to watch so many diehard sports fans try to fill the time without live events. I'm not sure how you spent your weekend. I watched the Bundesliga, and I don't even know if it was live or not.
Good for you.
Yeah. My wife walks by, and she goes, "Is that live?" I go, "I don't know." She goes, "You don't even know if it's live?" I go, "I don't care." So I'm watching the Bundesliga, and
Schweinsteiger.
I was actually entertained watching that. I watched CBS had some college basketball tournament games on from I don't know what year, but I was watching that as well. Yeah, Paul.
I was loving it. CBS was showing old like Big Ten title games. I was watching Sam Decker and Bronson Koenig and the boys from Wisconsin taking people down. I'm like, and the thing is, when they show these old games, you're like, I kind of remember what happens here, but I don't remember exactly. But I think it goes to overtime. And you're like, yes, and it plays out. It's like a reminder.
And you had a great idea that if they're going to show these games, why not have some of these players who played in these games live tweet? And Paulie reached out to Sam Decker, who was one of the stars of that Wisconsin team, and said, why don't you jump on social media, jump on Twitter, and tell us what was going on and kind of compliment the action there? Because that last play that was set up that won the game, that it was not supposed to go to Koenig. It was supposed to go to, I think, Sam Decker there. And Sam was walking people through it as we're watching that. And look, this is all new to all of us here, whether it's just you with your business, you at home with your kids, or even us with what we're trying to do here today. But I think everything's on the table as far as how we get through this, entertain one another, because, it's pretty grim right now and probably going to get worse before it gets better when you start to look at actual sporting events and when they're coming back. This isn't a 2-week period. This is going to be probably a couple of months. And the NBA looking at June before it resumes. And then are you resuming as if the regular season is over? So there's a lot of things. When does baseball come back? Football with free agency. Trying to fly in some of these potential free agents. And then can you do that? You got to have a pilot who's willing to fly them private. So there's a lot of things in flux. But the collective bargaining agreement did pass barely on Saturday night, which was amazing that at least 500 players didn't even vote. Maybe upwards of 600 didn't even vote, and it barely passed. But you don't realize how big sports is in your life until it's gone. And then, obviously there are more important things that we face right now. Your life becomes a routine. You do this, and then you do that on the weekend. You have these games, you have those nights. So you're able to sort of map out what your week is. The NCAA tournament is so much fun for everybody. And anybody who loves golf is going to miss that Sunday at the Masters. The NBA and NHL just starting to heat up. Baseball fans getting revved up with spring training. And all I can say is the games will return. I'm not sure when, but they will eventually return. And it's a huge challenge for the entire world. And it'll be a whole lot more fun when we have games back in our life. But hopefully this will make us appreciate the things that we took for granted before our everyday life was turned upside down. This program is brought to you by True Car. If you're looking for a car, when you're buying a new car, the process can be overwhelming. Now there's a better way with True Car. Go to True Car to build your car. Compare models by options from discovery to pricing to reviews. Get everything you need with the new True Car. All right, a little bit later on, Reggie Miller will join us. Rick Pitino's got a new job. After a few months ago, he told me that he wasn't going to go back into coaching. He is now the head coach at Iona. Ross Tucker, former NFL lineman, always great with his perspective on what's going on with free agency. And the great basketball writer from ESPN, Ramona Shelburne, will join us a little bit later on. I saw a report, Peter King floating the fascinating trade idea that there's a chance that maybe DeAndre Hopkins could go to the Patriots. This is just an idea. So Peter wrote that there was some pre-draft chatter that essentially the Texans might listen to offers for their star wideout. He then began to float potential matches. Why is it always the Patriots? It always feels like, if you say, he's going to go to throw out a team, the Titans, not many clicks on that. But if you say he's going to the Patriots, then all of a sudden, Patriots? Oh, so Tom's coming back. Oh, they're getting DeAndre Hopkins for him. Houston is currently in draft hell, according to Peter King, without a top 50 pick in this year's draft and next year's draft. So, you got wiped out with the Laramie Tunsil trade, but this is a great draft for wideouts. If that's the case, then why wouldn't the Patriots draft a wideout? DeAndre Hopkins is wonderful, but I don't want to pay DeAndre Hopkins $15 million if I don't have to. If I can get a rookie in there. Suffice to say, Patriots probably would be able to sell Tom Brady on coming back if they landed Hopkins. Even with a bit more salary cap flexibility, it would be hard to see the Patriots making such a deal happen. Wait a minute. So he's floating the idea, but then he tells you it's hard to see the Patriots making such a deal happen. In other words, nothing to see here? By the way, the Tom Brady market shrunk. And now that reportedly has shrunk. I can only go back and tell you what I told you last week, where a source said there's not 8 teams interested in Tom Brady. Maybe 3 at the most, and my source said probably 2. And those 2, he said Tampa and the Patriots. Now, I thought if the Titans are the mystery team, if San Francisco's the mystery team, well, now the Titans are out because they've re-signed Ryan Tannehill. I found this really amazing. The Titans used Tom Brady as leverage to re-sign Ryan Tannehill instead of the other way around. Like, they wanted Tannehill. They used Brady, apparently, to say, hey, Ryan, if you're not going to sign this offer, we're going to bring in Tom Brady. So they got Ryan Tannehill. Now you're going to probably franchise, I guess, Derrick Henry. But, Tennessee's got some questions here. But as far as Tom Brady to the Niners, apparently that's off the table, according to Chris Sims. The Titans off the table. I guess, maybe, I don't think the Raiders are in. I think the mystery team, if it's not the Colts, then it'll be the Chargers. Now, Tampa's already in. Tampa's already said. Tampa was tampering before you could, the illegal or the legal tampering period, whatever it is. Call them Tampa Bay, but they had no problem with going after, hashtag Tommy.
Tampa Bay.
Thank you, Todd.
Nice.
Yeah. But this was just one of those where you go, okay, Tampa's all in. Are the Chargers all in? Raiders doesn't feel like they're all in. The Colts could be the mystery team, but if there's a third team, I don't know that yet. I can only report what I was told, and that is the Patriots and Tampa, there were two teams, and if the third team is in there, it might be the Colts or the Chargers. But that's just some of the stuff going on. And the franchise tag, what do the Cowboys do? You tag Dak Prescott, and you're on the clock here of getting this done soon. And then what do you do with Amari Cooper here? So there's a lot of movement that can be happening here in free agency. All right, 877-3DP Show, email address dp@danpatrick.com. Best and worst of the weekend, as we always do every Monday. Your phone calls are welcome. McLovin, you got a poll question or two?
I do. Let's start with the NFL. Is it appropriate for the NFL to go ahead with free agency, yes or no?
Well, there's no contact. There's no interaction there. And unless it makes it, I guess there's two things. Can you still do your job in free agency? The teams, can they do their due diligence? And does the player feel like he's getting a fair chance at talking to these teams? Now, the other part is the optics, as we like to say. How does this look with guys who are signing these big contracts here? I have no problem with it. I understand it's a sensitive time, but then there's part of me that says, I'm glad that there's something like this. They're going to make their money no matter when they make it. If they don't make it now, then they'll make it in a month from now or 2 months from now. But I think if the NFL looks at its schedule, you got to have this done. They're pushing the draft back. Then, when are you going to be able to join your new team, the OTAs? There's a lot of things in play. And I know it's not the most important thing, but I look at it as this is a nice diversion to have. And I don't care that Dak Prescott will sign a $200 million contract. I'm not offended by that. Yeah, McLovin.
Okay, next question. It's kind of related. The deal is done, and Ryan Tannehill signs this contract, 62 fully guaranteed, then 91 in total guaranteed. I didn't know there was a difference between the two. Does that seem like too much for Ryan Tannehill? I
think it's the going rate. I find this amazing with Ryan Tannehill that it felt like, the Titans were at their best when he was just handing the ball off and throwing for less than 100 yards. He had a really good regular season. I know they like how he throws the deep ball and he's athletic, but feels like if you don't get Derrick Henry back with Tennessee, then I'd like to see what his quarterback rating is going to be. Yes, Eaton.
Right, you just are left with the sense, did they need to do that, the Titans?
Yeah. Well, I've been told, hey, you don't realize how bad it was playing for the Dolphins, and that's now he's got a chance to shine. Well, it feels like that sample size is a little bit larger than what he had with the Titans. But as some people have pointed out in Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill led the NFL in passer rating this last season. He had the fourth highest passer rating in league history, which is another reason why we should never listen to people who talk about passer rating. Yes, you run down the list of Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Nick Foles, Ryan Tannehill, Tom Brady. Those are the 5 highest QBRs in history.
Stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day. Here comes that what? Stat of the day.
Yeah, Rodgers, Manning, and Brady were all NFL MVPs in those seasons. But the QBR for Ryan Tannehill was incredible. If that's the case, then why weren't more teams interested in Ryan? Was anybody else interested in Ryan Tannehill? I didn't hear one team go, hey, 8 teams are interested in Ryan Tannehill. I understand what Tennessee did. And if you keep Derrick Henry and you keep Conklin, they're great offensive linemen, okay. But if you don't keep Derrick Henry, I don't want Ryan Tannehill for that amount of money. But he, to me, is less risky than Tom Brady is. So I'd rather have Ryan Tannehill. As much as Brady's place in history is firmly cemented, I'm not sold on him as my quarterback. Like the Niners. I didn't understand that at all. Oh, if you have Brady, you can win the Super Bowl. You were a couple of batted passes down from winning the Super Bowl. And how about you play defense in the second half? You might have won the Super Bowl. But Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee, okay, he kind of fits who they are, that personality there. They don't take a lot of chances, and Tannehill, seems like he's the right guy for them. And that's the going rate for a quarterback. I don't begrudge anybody. Like Dak Prescott's going to be the highest paid player in the history of the sport. Does he deserve it? No. Is it the going rate? Yes. Yeah, Paul.
It seems like the Titans might have been in a weird position where it's either pay him the full boat or pretty close to the full boat, or start over at the quarterback position, and they're too good to start over. Like if they were 7-9 last year, or 6-10, they don't have to worry about it. They can go in any direction at quarterback, but they were too close.
Yeah, McLovin.
Yeah, by the way, passer rating is an old school stat. It's just touchdowns to interceptions, right? Like all those guys just don't throw picks. So VORP, WAR, if you want to talk about those, that's a rating.
Okay, thank you.
But would the Patriots have been interested in Tannehill? Is that one of the potential suitors?
I didn't hear anybody interested in Ryan Tannehill. I didn't. I didn't have any, breathless reporting from the mothership where, X number of teams are interested in Ryan Tannehill if he would happen to leave. Like everything's been about Tom Brady and, not Ryan Tannehill going back to the. I will say, though, there have been reports for a while that he was going back there. I think Ian Rappaport was saying that he's going back to Tennessee. We just didn't want to believe it because we're hoping for, something to happen there. Because if he's not there, then that means that Tom Brady is, probably going there. All right. What else, McLovin?
All right. Rudy Gobert. Do you want a Rudy Gobert poll or another NFL poll?
Give me another NFL one, then we'll take a break.
This is Titans related. Would you invest more in Derrick Henry or Jack Conklin? More hypothetical, which is more valuable, running back or tackle? We know tackles get paid more, but what should be a bigger priority for Tennessee? Because a lot of people are saying running backs have no market, so why are you going to pay Henry a lot of money?
But it felt like he was the difference for that team because you controlled the clock and he just battered the defense and wore them down. Therefore, Tannehill doesn't have to make that many plays.
But Todd Gurley got a big contract and didn't hold up.
Yeah, I know. Different running back, different. And look, do I want to overinvest in Derrick Henry? No. As much as I loved watching him play, no. If I get 5 years out of a running back and he's used like that, then I feel fortunate there. Like Jack Conklin is a guy that you can keep for another 5 to 7 years. And, could be a Hall of Fame caliber offensive lineman. Look for the Cleveland Browns to be interested in Jack Conklin, though, if they get the opportunity there. Yeah, Paul.
You can go back to Dallas years ago. Dallas had DeMarco Murray. Remember him?
Yeah.
1,845 yards, 13 touchdowns. Imagine if they would have given a 25-year-old DeMarco Murray a big, long contract.
Yeah.
He made one more Pro Bowl in Tennessee, rushing for 1,200 yards. He's out of football. He played 3 more years after that monster year where he had 1,800 yards. DeMarco Murray would have been a horrible investment. Todd Gurley is going to become a horrible investment.
Well, he already is.
Yeah.
But at running back, you don't spend, like, Derrick Henry's probably going to make $10 million. Even though his value to that team, you could argue he's as valuable to his team as any other player in football. But it's the position. We abuse the position, those, in that position, and then we just move on. It's the one position that feels like, we can just enjoy what we see for a 5-year window and then we move on. You can just discard your running backs. It's like with Dallas, with Zeke Elliott. I wouldn't have re-signed him. I think I can find a running back. With that offensive line, I think I could find an offense or a running back who could be a guy who could get, 1,200 yards, it feels like. All right, we'll take a break. Phone calls are welcome as we have best and worst of the weekend. I told you what I watched over the weekend. I don't know if the Danettes watched anything else sports-wise that was interesting. And I didn't feel, great shame that I'm watching the Bundesliga. I didn't. I was like, okay, I'm good with this.
Is that the Giselle Bundesliga? What league is that?
Thank you, Todd. But I did watch it, and I just went, okay. I don't know anything that's going on. I don't know any of these players, teams, but it didn't. But I think it was live, and it was fun. The Bundesliga.
Were there any fans in the stadium?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think.
Might not have been live then.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Don't ruin the ending. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right. I'll call Rebecca Lowe and ask her about that.
All right,
now we're talking.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. It's 20 after the hour. We'll settle on a poll question. We got some guests today, and we'll give you our best and worst of the weekend coming up as well. 21 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show. You want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year automatically. No limit on how much you can earn. That's pretty amazing. In fact, it's even more amazing because of all the places where Discover is accepted. You're talking about 95% of places in the United States that take credit cards, according to the 2019 Nielsen report. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing the word yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. Discover.com/yes. Limitations apply.
Hey, what's up? It's Paulie and Seaton. We're here with Keith, the senior archivist. Archivist?
You can say it either way.
Okay, here at the Sony Archives.
We basically preserve the history of the studio via props, costumes, art department.
So you're gonna let us in, check everything out?
Hesitantly, but we will.
All right, any ground rules?
No touching.
Really no touching?
No touching.
Recommended or serious?
I don't like his look.
Are you allowed to touch that? You can't touch that. I touched it, I'm sorry. You can't touch these. What are you doing?
You're very bad at this. Welcome to the archive. As you can see, there's many goodies around.
It's Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters backpack. They used to light up. I don't know if they do anymore. We haven't plugged them in quite a while. Let's not do that.
No, okay, all right.
Men in Black props we have are sword right here.
This is so sick.
You might recognize some of these.
So you're gathering these things from movie sets, right? Does somebody say to you, like, make sure you grab the Finn rifle?
No, it's really my decision, and also we deal a lot with, like, the prop masters and the costume designers to determine, like, what's most important for that film or television show.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a collaboration.
Yeah, Jerry Maguire. That is rad.
Can we borrow this for the Dan Patrick Show tomorrow, but get right back? I mean, like 24 hours tops.
I doubt it.
It's from The Equalizer?
It is.
Holy moly.
That's who you see die, I think, in the first part of the film.
Holy smokes, look at the hair. Dude, there's a lot of stuff in here.
Ricky Bobby's cast from Talladega Nights. This is the one that Will wore.
Is this the real one?
That is the one and only.
There's a lot of sneaky stuff in these cabinets. Okay, look at this. Tom Hanks' character, Captain Phillips. It's his ID.
Oh, that's from the movie.
Captain Phillips.
Right, yeah, the movie was Captain Phillips, right.
Jonah Hill's bike from 21 Jump Street. In the cop scene early in the movie. It's great. See, now we're talking Superbad. Jonah Hill.
Come on.
His character Seth, remember at the party he dumps out the the laundry thing?
That's the real one?
That is the real one.
This is Kevin Costner's files from JFK that they brought into court.
Jim Garrison.
I could tell from this here, that's what this is.
That's a great catch.
Yeah, that's not right. That's
well, yeah, I saw the movie.
Definitely not right.
This is, you're not.
This from Karate Kid, the All Valley Under-18 Open Karate Championships. This isn't Daniel LaRusso's. This is Johnny's second place trophy.
That is a whole other level of Karate Kid nerddom. Do you have any...
Make sure you check out the DP Show store. Doing some spring cleaning at the DP Show store. $10 shirts, $15 hats, some items up to 65% off. Plus, free shipping when you spend $50 or more. Also have some St. Patty's Day T-shirts, Mookie Betts T-shirts in there. There's a lot, including some of your favorites. Go to danpatrick.com to get your gear today. All right, McLovin, who joins us via, is it Skype? Is that what we're doing? Is this officially Skype, McLovin?
Yeah, I'm on Skype. It seems like people are using all sorts of programs across the country to get together now, but Skype, it's looking great. I'm getting good reviews.
You are.
Yeah, I mean,
what?
Paulie keeps saying get closer to the camera.
No.
I'm more comfortable away from the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, I got another couple poll questions.
Do you have people in your apartment right now?
Oh, I do. Are you hearing? I have young children. We're doing homeschool.
Okay.
I have elected to teach sports history, which my wife has said is not a real class.
I can see people in the reflection of the picture behind you walking by, McLevin.
Oh my gosh. I had an interesting question from a parent, by the way. Are there any 30 for 30s that are kid appropriate? And I was watching the Michael Vick one last night, and that is not. It's an interesting thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not. No, that's
so it's
not.
hard to get sports programming for kids who are sports nuts. I don't know if you guys have any suggestions.
Well, you can watch the Bundesliga.
Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah.
Have you guys figured out if that was live or not, by the way?
Oh, probably not, but it didn't matter. Yeah. Yes, Paulie.
On Saturday afternoon, after my second nap, I was watching the I Hate Christian Laettner 30 for 30 and with Rob Lowe hosting it, and it is a bit tongue-in-cheek. And my daughters, who are 11 and 8, sat down, and at first they're like, I hate Christian Laettner. They don't like the word hate. And they're like, what is that? They don't know who Christian Laettner is. I pause it, and I explain who he is, why people were polarizing with him, and they watched the entire thing, and they loved it. They really were fascinated by this guy, Christian Laettner. And one of my daughters loved Christian Laettner at the end of the show. The other one's like, that guy was mean and picked on people. And they had two different thoughts about him.
Yes, McLevin.
Who loves Christian Laettner? What is wrong with your daughter? The whole point is you hate Christian Laettner.
I always enjoyed Laettner. I appreciate it. He's one of the greatest players of all time. I mean, he did have that moment that he should have been thrown out of that game, but he's still one of the great players of all time. And he embraced who he was, which I love that. Yes,
I couldn't stand that Duke team though. I really couldn't. And I was all UNLV in that rivalry.
Yeah.
I thought Stacey Augmon was going to revolutionize the league.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul.
I know you're not going to be surprised about this at all, but I was a huge Leitner fan. I love the way he poked people and how he gave it to people, and he ended up winning most of the games.
All right, what's the Rudy Gobert poll question?
Okay, will Rudy Gobert go down in history as an inadvertent hero, or will he be known as someone who used extremely poor judgment?
Well, it's both. I think he'll be an inadvertent hero. He will be written about. The history books will include Rudy Gobert. Because when he tested positive, now you had a name and a face, and then all of a sudden you started to play connect the dots of who came in contact with him, who else could be sick, and now you're finding that, one of the Pistons, Christian Wood, guarded him. He tested positive, and then Donovan Mitchell, his teammate, tested positive. I think if he doesn't test positive, we're probably playing sports. Now, you did have the Donovan Mitchell testing positive. I don't know if we would have been testing people, but I find it, it was that the NBA was looking at this, and then the NCAA looked at it. When the NCAA looked at it and said, we can't have this, we can't play because of Rudy Gobert. And I think that he'll be an inadvertent hero. But I do think that he probably will eventually be viewed as somebody who saved some lives, believe it or not, when this is all said and done. We have Rudy Gobert. He posted this talking about the coronavirus.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Rudy Gobert. Just wanted to give you guys a little update. I'm going to start by saying thank you to all the people that have been supportive and for all the positive energy. It really means a lot. As for myself, I've been feeling a little better every single day, thanks to the healthcare people of Utah and Oklahoma City and all the great people around me. As you may already know, I just wanted to make sure to remind you guys to keep washing your hands frequently with soap and water. Try to avoid touching your face, your nose, your eyes, and of course try to avoid making unnecessary contact with people. It's all about protecting yourself and the people around you. I wish I would have took this thing more seriously, and I hope everyone else gonna do so, because we can do it together. Take care and stay safe.
That's Rudy Gobert, courtesy of Twitter. I'm going to guess the NBA encouraged him to do that public service announcement. I think they're going to do a PSA with Rudy Gobert at some point with the NBA. Let me see. So let's settle on a poll question here. I got some phone calls, best and worst of the weekend, as we always do every Monday. We have some Meet Friday songs that I'll play as well coming up a little bit later on. Which one do you want to go with, McLovin? McLovin? Hey.
Sorry, technical difficulty. So people reacted to the NFL. Is it appropriate to have free agency? So I'm going to put that up on danpatrick.com. Is it appropriate for the NFL to have free agency this week? But I also have a college basketball poll for later in the week, Dan. Can we ask who you were going to have as your national champion in the brackets? I don't know. You had strong opinions. You knew these teams. I'm curious if you've done that hypothetical in your head.
You can't be wrong.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like somebody could say, well, that had never happened. We'll never know. I wish that they would put out the bracket. I wish that they would just go through it and just give us an afternoon where CBS gets together and has their analyst, and they just have some fun with it. I know it might be torture for, like, my alma mater, Dayton, to go, gosh, what could have been? We would have played them. We would have played them. Then we, of course, would have knocked off Seton Hall, and then we would have gone on to the Final Four. But there's part of me that I'm just curious about it, because the season ended so abruptly that I would have loved to have had somebody just say, this is how we probably think that it would have played out. Yes, Todd?
I don't like it. It would be too much of a tease. If they're not going to play the games, I'd rather just not know who was in what region, who got what seed. It's just
I do. I'm curious. How about if you just ask, well, we can keep it to football if you want today about free agency, but I would be in favor of releasing the brackets. Yes, Eden.
I just let it die. Don't make it even worse. Like, if you follow any of these kids on Instagram or anything like that, or on Twitter, they're crushed.
Yeah.
Why keep rubbing it in?
I don't know. This gives a little bit more finality to it than just, wait, we're not playing today? Nope, you're not. Yeah, Paul.
I would actually release the bracket, and then if I was on any of those 4 number 1 seeds, sometime in late June, early July,
have a celebration.
I would find a park and grab a camera, and the final 4 teams just show up and play pickup against each other, and just do it off the books. Imagine if Kansas and Dayton got together at a schoolyard in Dayton, Ohio, and just said, well, let's play pickup and roll camera on it, and just have fun in the summer with not organized, no coaches, just 5 dudes show up from each place.
No, if I had a number 1 seed, I would have a celebration that we won the national championship. I'd have a parade at some point. Yes, Tom.
It's one thing if it was temporarily postponed, like some coaches, Dick Vitale, others had suggested maybe they hold off a month or 2, and then at least there's the chance you play along that this could still happen. The fact that it's canceled and there's no way these games are being played, I think I'd rather not know.
Yeah, McLovin.
You just want to be on a float at Dayton. That's what that was all about, right?
I think so. Just the papal wave as I head down Main Street at the University of Dayton. Andrew Brandt, he just tweeted this out. Can you imagine news of quarantine, shuttered businesses, and market collapses with stories of NFL free agents signing big deals peppered in between? That's not, quote, giving a sense of normalcy, end quote. That's just the wrong thing to be doing. Adam Schefter tweets, a glimpse of our world with free agency on track for this week. Some teams are planning to use private planes to fly in premier free agents. Still, those flights require pilots to leave home and work, and teams are not pleased about this. Teams not, capital letters, not happy free agency this week. Yeah, Paul.
Wouldn't the concern be if you're the NFL and you decided to postpone for a week your free agency starting date or the NFL starting date? How do you unpostpone something if this gets worse? And let's say 6 weeks from now, it's much worse, and you're not. Now, we postponed our free agency and our draft for 6 weeks, and there's no end in sight. Once you postpone something, it looks even worse to unpostpone it, if that's a phrase. The NFL's in this weird position where they're going to get really backed up if they do that.
And then you have the draft as well. Yeah, I understand all of those things. Yes.
And it's not like the money is going to be any less ridiculous when everybody goes back to work. I mean, they're still flying on private planes and making hundreds of millions of dollars. That doesn't change. So I don't understand. I mean, I get the optics of it, but it's not any less absurd.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Like, we're sensitive. We should be sensitive. We should be smart about this. If it means teams can't do their job or a free agent can't travel where he needs to travel, then I understand that. But hey, we shouldn't be talking about multi-million-dollar. I'm not bothered today that Ryan Tannehill was making $62 million guaranteed. It did not change my day at all. I didn't go, so insensitive. I mean, if you're a small business owner, I'm sure your focus is on something else. You're not going, my business is struggling and Ryan Tannehill just got $62 million. I don't. And I'm not trying to be insensitive with it. I'm just being honest it doesn't bother me. I'm okay with this. And I'm glad that there's something out there that I can at least think about instead of, you can't sit around and can I shake your hand? Can I give you a hug? Can I go out? And I went into Starbucks today and they said, oh, you can't stay in here. I go, well, I wasn't going to stay. Like all the chairs are turned upside down. It's grab and go. And I went, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah, Tom.
Not even grab and go. Now there's more reports of just drive through, if anything at all, where you can't physically even walk in there.
And I get that. I understand that. I understand people are going to, we'll call it overreacting, but we're going to find out probably in a month that maybe we weren't overreacting. But in the time being, and this is what we're talking about, I'm okay with it. There's other things to be upset about. Not Ryan Tannehill making $62 million. He was going to make that anyway at some point. Yes, McLovin.
Well, I mean, he did throw for 88 yards at a playoff game. I mean, I don't know. Some people think it's overpayment. Not side issue. That's a crazy amount of money, Dan. If this deal...
Well, I know, but somebody was... It felt like he was going to get money.
You just said there was probably no market for him. There's no way they could have come under that number. That was like Kirk Cousins' deal from a couple years ago.
Look, I didn't want Ryan Tannehill. I'm not paying him. I'm saying it doesn't bother me that he's getting paid that.
Yeah.
It's like, somebody else is going to get a deal, and I'm not going to go, oh, my God, are you kidding me? Like, Amari Cooper is going to get paid, and I'm going to go, so what? I don't care. Yeah, McLovin.
Do you think this was good for the players to get this deal done, even if it's not favorable, because the economy is having problems? So the offer came out before the economy. So do you think that factored in?
Yes, I do. I think the timing, but also go back to what my source said prior to, this is around Thanksgiving, that some owners were privately worried about a recession prior to the coronavirus. They were trying to expedite this as well. And I think the players, if you voted on this 3 months from now, do you have a different outcome here? I don't know. It just felt like if I'm the players, let's get this now because we might not be getting this for a little while longer. But, it barely passed, which was amazing. Barely passed. Couple of phone calls. We'll take a break. Kyle in Virginia joins us. Good morning, Kyle. How are you?
Hey, Dan. How you doing?
Good, sir.
All right. So I'm calling from Salem, Virginia, where the Nickelback tribute for the Salem Red Sox is going to be.
Yeah.
So thought I'd just give them a shout-out. I had a quick question for you and the Danette. Right. The Premier League right now in England is 75% completed. Obviously, they are not playing games right now. If the season was to be canceled, would you give Liverpool the title? They are currently 25 points ahead.
Yeah, probably, if you're not going to be able to play. I don't know the timing of everything, but you don't have playoffs there, so why not? Yeah, I would give Liverpool. They've been dominant, so, yeah, I don't have any problem with that. The NBA's in a real tricky spot here because you're 3/4 of the way done with the season, and now what do you do if you're not playing basketball till June? Then do you do an abbreviated playoffs? Do you start the playoffs? Shortened series? Like, I don't know what they're going to do, but they're not going to be playing basketball till probably June. This according to the commissioner. And I think that's going to be really a challenge of what options do you have. All right, we'll take a break. Got our play of the day, believe it or not. Yes, we have a play of the day. And have that for you. More phone calls as well here on the Dan Patrick Show.
Let's designate balls.
All right. Do we write our names on them or something?
No. Well, you can, but this one's mine.
You know how I know which one's
letters on it?
Because
it's always going in.
Wow. Mine's the orange one that says NCAA and Wilson on it.
I'll just take the Globetrotter.
Yeah, but don't confuse this one.
No, that's totally
But you
different.
will.
That's orange.
I know, but you could confuse
I
it.
won't touch your ball. This needs a little air also.
I don't like interrupting your flow from the corner.
I have no flow. It's too early. My shoulders are cold.
That's in.
That's in.
Oh,
Dan!
Buzz.
That was going in.
That's not in. Don't touch it.
That's in.
Nope. Right.
Did you make that, Tom?
I did make that, but it wasn't a hook. I'm trying not to touch with my fingers. I'm hitting it with my forearm. Just punching the ball back to each other.
That's just money right there. Ooh.
Did you learn that from the Bundesliga? A little footy?
I remember listening to Mike Francesa talk soccer one day, and he had an analyst on. He goes, are there left-handed or
yes,
left-footed and right-footed?
No, he didn't.
Yes.
Yes.
No, he didn't.
Yes,
That's
he
true.
did.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, it was World Cup. It was around the World Cup.
No.
Yeah, World Cup. And are there left-footed and right-footed?
I can't be stopped today. Just letting you know. You guys are lucky the AUAA isn't happening today.
I
would be putting up 42 today.
Thought I had 3 in a row there.
42?
I love watching the AUAA. Sometimes it would be halftime and it would be 4-2.
Sad display.
Play of the day.
Runner left side, got it! They're gonna play it and play it.
This is the play of the day.
Check this out.
Superlatives, you can't come up with enough. Absolute, incredible performance. Shock and awe in college basketball. UMBC makes history in Charlotte.
Courtesy of CBS with Jim Nance on the call. Little Shock Me by Kiss. Biggest upset in tournament history on this day 2 years ago. UMBC shocks number 1 Virginia 74-54. They went into the game as a 21.5-point underdog in most books. Play of the day brought to you by Tecovas. Tecovas boots are handmade, full-grain leathers by world-class boot makers. Tecovas cuts out the middleman and sells directly to you at amazing prices. Shipping, returns, and exchanges are free and easy. Visit Tecovas.com/DP. Tecovas, Western Goods for new frontiers. I guess that we have a poll question we're going to go with. There are a lot of people who are ripping the NFL by proceeding with free agency here. Mike Lombardi just came out with a note on it that McLevin sent to me. I'll give you the tweet, unless you want to give it to me, McLevin. Let me see. What's he say here? Mike Lombardi with the NFL Network, McLevin. Is that right?
I'm not sure where he's working right now. He's in all sorts of media. He has his own podcast. It's very, very popular.
He says, I have no idea what the NFL is in a rush to start the league year. Just another example of the people in the league office having no idea how NFL teams operate from the football side. They have no idea. They think they know, but they don't. All right. Well,
is that about people on planes going places and things like that?
I have no idea what he's talking about. I don't know how difficult it is for teams right now, to do their jobs. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to make it even tougher in 6 weeks from now, a month from now. We don't even know when the draft is. And I think that's going to be challenging as well. I don't know why, if you don't just have the draft and do it, where you have a camera in the war room and then you let players Skype their celebration that they're being drafted. I mean, at some point we will get on with our lives, and the NFL is going to, the NFL can do whatever it wants. There's still some criticism here, but the NFL still can do what it wants because it's so powerful. You want to hold the draft without any fans there, and just do it from New York, where the commissioner is there in his league, the league office. And then you could have, players via Skype get drafted here. Have teams from their war room announce the player they're taking. You have a month to prepare for this. You could still do it if you need to do it time-wise. But I don't know if there's sensitivity there or not, and maybe that's why, they still want to have this event in Vegas. I'd rather they didn't have it at all, wait till next year and put it in Vegas. But they want to have, everything in Los Angeles next year. Yes, McLovin.
We've all done fantasy drafts online, and if they do it online, we all know the danger of buffering and getting knocked out of your league, though, Dan. Like that year I got stuck with Rashad Jennings by autopick by Yahoo and lost my league.
Wait, so your feed goes down, and then you can't make your pick, and then Yahoo picks it for you?
Yes, so the Raiders could get stuck with like a punter in the second round.
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, you get back in especially the late 90s, you could be in an auto draft chat on ESPN.com, and you get left out. You're like, oh my God, reset. And next thing I know, I took Colquitt, the punter, in the fourth round.
I don't believe you took Colquitt.
I definitely got a punter in like round 5. Because,
wait, why do you have a punter?
Well, you have an auto draft thing, and it ranks the players.
Oh.
And it's like, well, it was probably like round 7, but either way, it took a player that was redundant to my team, and you're just trying to get in and to dial up.
Mike Lombardi writes for The Athletic. So, Otto in Michigan. Hey, Otto.
Hey, Dan. How you doing?
Good, sir. What's on your mind?
So, Dan, I'm a professional golfer, and I play on the PGA Tour, Latin America, and Canada. And obviously, we don't have tournaments the next 30 days here, but there's still actually professional golf being played in the States. The All-Pro Tour, it's a big mini tour circuit in the States, and I'm here in Louisiana this week, and we're still playing golf, so there's still professional golf here.
Are there fans in attendance?
I don't think so. I see there's a 250 gathering law they have, so as of now, we have 140 guys signed up, and we're still playing professional golf.
All right. Well, thanks for the phone call, Otto, and good luck. Thank you. Yeah, I wondered if the Players' Championship could have continued. And I think it could have with no fans there, and you just had the golfers. It's just, once again, the optics of this. Just like free agency with the NFL. That, do we need to do it now? And now, that's why you have some of these analysts who are up in arms over this. Chris Sims has been doing a lot of work here on the Tom Brady front, and the Pro Football Talk co-host had this to say over the weekend about Tom Brady, and the number of teams interested in him is now down to 2.
From everything I've heard, it's down to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New England Patriots. All right, and I don't think that the New England Patriots are going to be willing to give Tom Brady $30 million a year type of money. As we know, Bill Belichick, he drives a hard bargain. He treats it like a business, no matter who it is, even if it's the GOAT. He's not going to just give him free money.
And this is what Brady's side was hoping for. This is why you had some reporters who had all this information about maybe 8 teams interested in Tom Brady. And he may still leave. I thought all along that he was going to return to New England. It gave him the best chance to win. Plus, if you have a truncated offseason, it makes it even harder for Brady to get into a team if he goes to Tampa and be able to, install some of his system with the Buccaneers. And I think the Buccaneers are going to be, with the right quarterback, the Buccaneers will be a playoff team next year. Yes. I'm guaranteeing the Buccaneers playoff team, depending on who's their quarterback, unless it's Jameis Winston. And then all bets are off.
My wife asked me to put together a homeschooling schedule for my children, and this is what I presented to her yesterday. Wake the kids about 10:15 a.m. Figured let them sleep in, well-rested kids.
Sure.
Cake for breakfast. They're going to be in a good mood. And some video games, maybe like an hour and a half. Just ease into the day. Then you got to nap it out. You've been up for almost 2 hours. Let's have some barbecue for lunch. Watch Goodfellas with me. Some daddy-daughter.
Goodfellas with the kids.
Right.
Okay.
It's a movie about history.
I'm getting progressively more concerned as I read ahead a little bit.
Then a field trip. Maybe pick up some beer or something for the wife. Then the second nap. When I say second nap, that's me. And then the kids would clean the garage. And then this is fun. I'll go outside, get a little air. The run with scissors race, which is first time doing it. Should work out great. Then before dinner, you want to have a big snack. I've always thought that that's good for kids. 'Cause like maybe a couple Twinkies each, wolf those down. Then at 6:15, I was just going to let the kids cook unsupervised in the kitchen.
So if they survive the scissors, there could be some third-degree burns in the kitchen.
No, they're like 11 and 8.
They can handle it. Yeah, I guess
And then
after
They're
that,
more adapted.
Oh, totally than me.
They're more.
Yeah, I would trust Paul's kids in the kitchen way more than
my
you.
8-year-old
Yeah.
has cooked more meals than you.
I have no doubt. About
Yeah.
that.
Because she's cooked one.
1-0. That's it.
Yeah.
Scoreboard.
So that's
Scoreboard,
How do you
toddler.
think, Dan?
I like it.
I thought it out.
I like the good parenting.
Yep.
Scoreboard.
Good parenting.
Scissors
Yeah.
and
All right.
unsupervised cooking.
See you later.
Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show, where no disease can prevent us
keeping us calm and letting us know what's going on.
from bringing you the best in sports talk.
Jim Boeheim.
Those guys have worked their tails off. I mean, it's all gone. You know, I don't know what the answers are. I just feel for all these college athletes that have worked their whole life, and now that's gone.
John Oran, Sports Business Journal. How do you quantify the impact that this is going to have on the sports world?
The trickle down, nobody knows anything. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what it's going to look like a week from now, 2 weeks from now, or a month from now. They're just trying to react more than plan out.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave.
You got a hobby?
This is Dan Patrick.
Hour 2 on this Monday, Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. McLovin is at home, his apartment in Brooklyn with his family, his daughters. But we're fully assembled here. Coming up, we'll talk to Rick Pitino. He's got a new job. He's going to coach Iona College. We'll talk to Reggie Miller a little bit later on. What options does the NBA have if they resume basketball in June? You just start with the playoffs. Ramona Shelburne, the great basketball writer for ESPN, will join us as well. And Ross Tucker, former NFL lineman, friend of the show, will tell us, should we have free agency now? And what did he think of what the players got with that collective bargaining agreement that passed late Saturday night? NFL free agency kicked off with a bang when the Titans re-signed quarterback Ryan Tannehill to a 4-year extension. It's worth $118 million. You've got 62 or so million guaranteed. And that's a lot for a quarterback who wasn't even the focal point of his team's offense. But the story isn't just about Tannehill and the Titans. The deal officially takes the Titans out of the Tom Brady sweepstakes. And we have no idea if they were ever really in. Just like I don't know if we knew that the Niners were ever truly in. I don't know how many teams are or were truly in on the Tom Brady sweepstakes. Even if Brady's undecided, we're going to get clues from how the other teams act. Teams like the Buccaneers and Chargers may not want to wait. And I think the Buccaneers are all in. I don't know if the Chargers are a mystery team here. It still feels like there's two teams, the Buccaneers, Patriots, maybe have the Chargers in there. And maybe you get a team out of nowhere that's been quiet, hadn't said anything. Brady hasn't said anything, or Brady's camp hasn't said anything. But I still feel like you have three teams at the most interested in Tom Brady. And if you're the Patriots basically said, go out and see what's out there. I mean, they're smart business people. Belichick is a smart guy, and I'm sure that he knows what Tom's value is on the open market. And are you willing to then pay what that is when he comes back? Because you need two offers to have some leverage there. I don't know how much leverage he's going to have. I don't know what Tampa's going to offer him. And does Belichick and Mr. Kraft call his bluff and say, if you want to go play for Tampa, and I said at the end of last hour, and I firmly believe it, I think Tampa will be a playoff team next year. Now, if Jameis Winston is there, then I'm going to hedge my bets. But I think that defense was one of the top 5 defenses at the end of the year, and they've got a lot of offensive weapons there. Now, can Brady come in and make a difference? If Brady's there, they're going to make the playoffs. But that's a good team, and it's one of those, if you're looking to buy low and sell high, Buccaneers are a team that I like, and I like Bruce Arians as well. But, there's still a lot of drama to play out here. But, you're looking for those greener pastures for Tom Brady, and I don't know how many green pastures are out there because I think that the Niners have moved on. Feels like the Colts are still in with Phillip Rivers. Although if you're in with Phillip Rivers, then aren't you in with Tom Brady? Aren't they going to cost you about the same? And I get Phillip Rivers, who's little younger, if you want to call it that. The Raiders, it feels like they're not in the Brady sweepstakes here. I think if things got really squirrely with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, then I guess as a desperation, hey, you don't want to sign, then we're going to bring in Tom Brady, which I've said all along, I don't think that that's ever a possibility. It looks like you're going to tag Dak Prescott here, and you're going to try to re-sign Amari Cooper, but there's some big decisions being made or will have to be made in the coming days here. And I think with Tom Brady, maybe he doesn't have – because you had two different camps here. You had Belichick, Patriots side of things giving information, and then you had Brady's side. And this is where you can get played in the media. This is where his agent or somebody close to him can say, there's probably 7 or 8 teams out there. And maybe there's 7 or 8 teams. I never felt that. The information I got was never that. But I think teams might, out of respect, say they would be interested. But I never understood why the Niners didn't totally just discount this from the beginning and just say, no, we got our quarterback. Because they do have their quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's what the Niners should have said from the beginning. Any of this rumor, innuendo, talk, or no, we have our guy. Yeah, Paul.
A question for you, McLovin. I was wondering why there's not more coverage of Teddy Bridgewater in free agency. He was 5-0 as a starter last year, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. All his numbers were great. He appears to be healthy, and he's 27 years old. Why? It seems like there's very little coverage of it, though.
Well, and then you look at what the Saints are doing with Taysom Hill, because it feels like he's the heir apparent to Drew Brees, not Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know who's going to bring in Teddy Bridgewater as his starter. But let's see what happens with Cam Newton. I mean, there's other quarterbacks out there. And then you have a quarterback draft that you got 4 quarterbacks who could be taken in the top 10. Yes, McLovin.
Do you think Teddy Bridgewater is about his bad pro day, maybe?
Oh, it can't be still about that.
Joking, but you remember he had an inaccurate pro day, and he's one of the most
I know.
accurate quarterbacks in history.
He's been very accurate since then. But I remember railing on that process where people are saying, bad pro day. I said, how about you check out his games? And that's like you're not any good in games, but your pro day is unbelievable, so I'm going to draft you? Yeah. 8-7. Yes, McLovin.
Is he a game manager, though? Isn't that the tag? I don't know if it's good or bad. Teddy Bridgewater is more of a game manager than a
What is
star.
Ryan Tannehill? He just got a 4-year deal. Alex Smith, Kirk Cousins. The sport's loaded with game managers here. Drew Brees is a game manager now. There's only one Patrick Mahomes. Man, wow. All right, 877-3DP Show. Email address dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle at DP Show. And you can watch this program on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. Ross Tucker, former NFL lineman and a host of the Ross Tucker podcast, joining us on the program. Should we be having free agency in the NFL right now, Ross?
You know what, Dan? I'm okay with it either way. I know a lot of people have really strong opinions on it. On the one hand, I get it that we're in a national crisis, and you could argue that the NFL should take the lead in setting an example to people that, everybody that can hit the pause button in life right now should hit the pause button. And with everything social distancing and everything that everyone's trying to do, maybe the NFL would set an example in that regard. I guess if you're the NFL, though, you could spin it the other way, which is with everyone having to stay at home for the most part and with social distancing, we are going to be their diversion. All it is agents talking to team executives on the phone from home about how much money their guy's going to be. So while everybody has to stay home, while we're all in this together, the NFL will be our diversion and our topic to talk about. I see both arguments. I think the big issue or the big point I would make in favor of people that say keeping it now is I don't think it's going to get better, Dan, anytime soon. I mean, everything I've read, 2 weeks from now it'll be worse. 4 weeks from now it'll still be worse. So it might be better to do it now as opposed to 2 months from now.
Yeah, because once you postpone it, you can't unpostpone it. And I don't have a problem. And, some people have talked about the sensitivity of where we are as a country. And these guys are going to be signing these multi-million-dollar contracts. Ryan Tannehill did not offend me one bit, nothing, that he signed this deal to stay with the Titans. And if Brady signs or re-signs, I'm not going to be bothered by it, by saying how insensitive that he's going to make that money at some point. So who cares if he's making it now or he makes it, in 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, I mean, Dan, literally yesterday, there were all kinds of guys that signed. Devin McCourty in New England, Costanzo back with the Colts for $33 million over 2 years. Bradley Roby with the Texans. There was a big trade with the Jags and the Ravens with Calais Campbell. First of all, I didn't hear a single person say how insensitive that these guys are getting these contracts right now. Secondly, they were able to do all those deals. And I know that there are some people that say, well, they need to take physicals, et cetera, and, potentially they could then void the deal later on and say that they didn't pass the physical. They do that now sometimes. I mean, they do that now when they are able to get the guy for a physical 2 or 3 days later after this tampering period. I mean, they're not even allowed to have the guy visit till Wednesday anyway. Meanwhile, in exactly 2 hours, there will be Jack Conklin or somebody there will be a report that he's agreed to terms with the team 10 minutes into the tampering period, and he's not allowed to even get a physical till after Wednesday at 4 p.m. anyway. So they already, if they want to have buyer's remorse, they can already fail the guy on the physical if they want to. I don't think it's as big a deal as other people are making it. I really don't.
All right, the Titans bring back Ryan Tannehill. Now you got to decide what you do with Derrick Henry and Jack Conklin. What would you do?
So first of all, I would have franchise tagged Ryan Tannehill. He had a really good half of the year, but Dan, they just fully committed to him $91 million for 3 years. Like, that is happening. Tannehill's going to be there. He's getting the $91 million. It's $62 million in the first two, but 3 days into next year's league year, the $29 million for 2022 becomes fully guaranteed. So he's going to be their quarterback, $91 million for 3 years. I would have franchise tagged him and made him do it again. I would have taken my chances with Derrick Henry on the market. Who's the team out there that's going to give Derrick Henry a ton of money on a long-term deal? There's literally, Dan, a graveyard of running backs. David Johnson and Gurley and Devontae Freeman just got cut. And every running back that's gotten a big deal, their team has ended up regretting it. I don't think there'd be very much of a market for Derrick Henry. I would have tagged Tannehill. I would have let Henry test the market and believe that I'd still be the one that would be willing to offer him the most money. And I try to keep Conklin, although Conklin is going to get a lot of money, and he's been inconsistent and a little bit injury-prone. So if someone's going to make him the highest-paid tackle in the NFL, I'd be willing to let him go elsewhere.
Yeah, my philosophy is if I'm drafting you in the first round, I'm going to use you up for 5 years if you're a running back, and then I'm going to let you go. And, that's what I would have done with Ezekiel Elliott if I'm the Cowboys. I think that offensive line is so good that I can put a quality running back in there who's going to at least give me 1,000, if not, 1,200, 1,300 yards. And I don't think Zeke Elliott is the running back that he once was.
And you know what, Dan? I'm glad you said that, because if you go back to the end of the year, and in particular the playoff games where Derrick Henry got so much love and so much attention, and he deserves the credit. He had some terrific runs, but go back and watch how many of those runs against the Patriots and Ravens that Derrick Henry got 3 or 4 yards before he was touched. In particular, the left side of the line, Taylor Lewan and Roger Saffold, they were killing dudes. So you have a guy that's 250 pounds, runs a 4.3 40, getting a 7-yard runny. Yeah, he's going to get some yards. I promise you. He's going to get some yards. The Titans' offensive line was awesome. I think that they did this the wrong way. I would have tagged Tannehill, made him prove it, and I would have tried to done a deal with Derrick Henry. I just don't see another NFL team saying, you know what, let's give Derrick Henry what Zeke Elliott just got. Exactly nobody was going to do that.
He's Ross Tucker, former NFL player, former Patriot legend, and host of the Ross Tucker podcast. What do you think the Patriots' game plan is?
Well, they brought back McCourty and Slater. There's not as much room for them now in terms of money. I think that the fact that very little news is trickling out about Brady right now is interesting. The Titans are out. The Niners are out. Now, I had Albert Breer on my podcast this morning. He said the Chargers are still in. So I know Chris Sims had said that it was down to the Bucs or the Patriots. Albert sort of disputed that on my podcast this morning. I still think he probably goes back to New England and that's what Belichick wants. But it does seem weird to me that there isn't more conversation there. I mean, everybody keeps talking about this sit-down meeting that they need to have that they haven't had yet. Well, where's that going to take place now? When is that going to take place now? And I think deep down Brady would like to go back. But if he once again feels a little bit underappreciated and disrespected, it's going to be hard, Dan. The Chargers and the Bucs are going to give Brady, offer him whatever he wants. Money-wise, for both business and football reasons, they both have much more talented, skilled people. I think he still thinks he got the best chance to win in New England. I think he likes McDaniels and the familiarity there. But at some point, if you've got two people that are really giving you everything you want and the other one's still kind of lukewarm, he might just say, you know what? I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. I'm going with one of the other two teams that's making it seem like they actually really want me, as opposed to me having to kind of grovel to Belichick yet again.
Well, you know that he's going to get that feeling. I mean, I can't imagine I think he's going back, but I've thought that all along. But it's not like Belichick's going to all of a sudden go, it's so great to see you, Tom. Like, get emotional here. It's a business that, for a player, it's personal. For management, it's business. Now, for Robert Kraft, he's got to run a business, and it's going to be personal with Tom. But I think that he understands, how much do I want to load up and keep Tom here just for memory's sake? It's like the Lakers with Kobe, where they spent that kind of money those last 2 years because they wanted him to retire as a Laker, and it was one reason for people to go out and see the team. They weren't winning. The Patriots expect to win. That's why if he wants to have another chance at another championship, then he might take less money, less respect, but a better opportunity to win.
Yeah, you know what, Dan? I think we are going to have an unprecedented amount of leaked information if Brady goes somewhere else.
What do you mean?
Because the stakes are, well, I just mean the PR battle, if he signs somewhere else, is going to be intense. Because the Patriots in Boston are not going to want their fans to think that it was them that moved on. And I don't think Brady, they'll be classy about it. I had a great 20 years, but, it's a different time in my life. But then you'll start to have the leaks where it'll be, well, the Patriots only offered Brady. The Patriots will leak that they offered him a 2-year deal. Then it'll come out that, well, it was only $15 million a year. There's just too much at stake, too many legacies on the line for how this thing ends, that I'm almost intrigued to see him go somewhere else just to see what the PR battle behind the scenes end up being.
Do you think that we should hold the draft?
Oh, I have an idea for this, especially if they push back the league year. Dan, you're going to love this. I'm going to tweet this soon. This is what we all need. They should start the draft. If they're going to start free agency now, start the draft like in 2 weeks, and we do a different first-round pick every day. Because they're not going to actually have a draft. Like, they're not going to have a draft for 600,000 fans. It's just going to be like a made-for-TV conference call event. But let's say we start the draft April 1st. And the Bengals have the first pick. April 2nd will be the Redskins Day. So that Dan Patrick Show, the Ross Tucker Podcast, all of us, all day we'll just talk about who are they going to take? Are they going to trade? What are they going to do? And then that night, because there's literally nothing else sports-wise going on, if the NFL was smart, the first round, every pick would be its own day, and it would be amazing.
Well, wait a minute. There may be some offensive lineman out of Michigan State who gets his own day. I think that might be a little overkill, Ross.
Probably, but it's better than whatever else we're going to be talking about. And then we'll see how long the second round goes through. But can you imagine that? The draft, one pick, first round, every day gets his own day. And then that whole day we talk about the Bengals. It's like Bengals Day on the Dan Patrick Show. Then it'll be Giants Day on the Dan Patrick Show. It'd be awesome.
Tweet it out. I'm interested to see what kind of response you get. Great to talk to you again, Ross. Thanks for joining us.
All right, see you guys. Stay healthy and safe.
That's Ross Tucker, former NFL player, host of the Ross Tucker Podcast. Vikings have reached a 2-year contract extension with quarterback Kirk D. Cousins.
Excuse me?
Didn't he just get a contract? I'm confused here. How long has Kirk D. Cousins been there? 2 years? And then yes, McLovin.
He's on his last year already. This would have been his third and final year because he only got a 3-year guaranteed deal.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, Paulie.
He signed an $84 million deal 2 years and 1 day ago.
So you got 2 more years with Kirk D. Cousins. All right, we'll take a break. It was back in September. Rick Pitino joined us and said he was done college coaching. And then all of a sudden over the weekend, I see Iona College reaches out to Rick Pitino. We'll talk to him about what changed. We're back after this on the Dan Patrick Show. You go into Andy Mann's closet and maybe you see a pair of high-quality cowboy boots. It actually makes you feel something when you wear them. Yeah, comfortable confidence there. It comes with putting them on. You stand taller, walk taller, and you feel confident from the ground up. Fritzy felt this when he went out. What was it, Boot Barn or something?
Boot Barn and Denim and Diamonds, all those.
San Bernardino.
Got those Tacoma boots. I'm ready to roll.
Paulie used to work at a country bar.
Denim and Diamonds in New York City. Bouncer / DJ.
Did you wear cowboy boots?
I had to, and a hat. I had to wear boots and a hat. I'll tell you later more
Doing the
about it.
boot scoot boogie.
Western boots have a deep American history that can be experienced by you. You can be just like Fritzy or just like Paulie. But if it's your first pair or next pair, they're made by master bootmakers from the finest quality materials. You can see and feel the craftsmanship in the details of everything Tecovas makes. But where Tecovas does things differently, the customer experience. Find your pair at tecovas.com/DP, TECOVAS.com/DP. almost died was when I got pied.
Set, go.
Annihilated by Michael Irvin.
He obliterated Dan's face.
I was placed immediately in concussion protocol.
That's an explosion.
I suffered a severe loss of blood.
I don't know if you got me, Mike.
And nearly suffocated under all that whipped cream.
The day I almost died on the DP show, we had the bright idea to send Ryan Leaf across the street to try and throw footballs through this little window. And then I compounded this genius idea by hanging out of said third-story window.
Seaton's been high. I mean, really high. But this was dangerously high.
Third-story window.
I assumed Dan or Todd, who were standing right next to me, would have been spotting me. Then I heard Dan coming back on air, and I saw Todd standing there with his hands full.
Is that a hard choice, holding on to Seaton's legs for his life or going back on air?
Zero help from those guys.
No, it was not hard at all.
Yeah, he made that choice pretty quick.
I did.
The day I almost died on the DP show, I mean, I had to write them down. There's so many. Running into the street, getting kicked in the head by McLovin, thrown out the window by Frank Martin, Luke Kuechly with the hay bale, Michael Strahan, Adrian Peterson, Jerome Bettis, Matt Forte, Nick Newell, Kyle Dake, K.O. Spikes, Clay Matthews, Sean Merriman, Jeremy Roenick, Khalil Mack, Evie Wambach, Jay Glazer choked me out, Mike Pereira, Landon Donovan, and Jay Moore wrestling. So there's just a few of times I almost died on the Dan Patrick Show.
Holy, you almost got him.
The day I almost died on the show was the same day that Seaton almost died. Ryan Lee's final throw bounces into traffic. There could have been a bus, garbage truck, someone on a Segway.
Death on air is ratings gold. Ryan Lee almost gave us a 2-for-1 right out in front.
I could have died.
Got to get him back in the studio, take someone out.
If only McLovin had gotten tagged by a bus on national TV, I'd have another Emmy.
The day I almost died on the DP show, you would think it would be riding that mechanical bull in Dallas, but oh no. When Chrissy Teigen came in and I was singing to her and we did our little snuggling kind of thing, our spooning as they like to say, life doesn't get any better than that. I could have and I guess should have died right then and there.
Is it odd that the show always revolves back to Fritzy's penis?
This could be the greatest day of my life. I would have went out on top, even though I was on the bottom.
Talk to the new head coach of Iona, Rick Pitino, who'll join us coming up. This program brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way, the all-new GT four-door coupe, because life is a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. If you missed any of our interviews from the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, go to the Dan Patrick Show app. Watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave. Mercedes-AMG driving performance. Let me see. The Titans placing the franchise tag on Derrick Henry. Just got that information from the NFL. He's probably, I think, $10.5 million is what he's going to make, franchise tag. And I get it. I understand it. How would you, I can't imagine Derrick Henry looking at Ryan Tannehill's contract. And then all of a sudden, Tannehill gets $90 million guaranteed. And Derrick Henry gets $10.5 guaranteed. He did most of the work there. Probably not too pleased with that. I don't think so. A couple of phone calls here. Stephen in California, then we'll talk to Rick Pitino. Hey, Stephen, how are you?
Good, thanks, Dan. 6 foot, 165. I I really believe that the overwhelming feeling here in the Bay Area is Niners fans don't want Tom Brady, but I think we could really take him in as our mascot, and I think that would work great.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, we didn't hear anything from the Niners. Then all of a sudden, Chris Sims, who's good friends with Kyle Shanahan, I think they were roommates at Texas and have each other's initials tattooed on their bodies, which I don't know if he's ever fully explained that he's got Kyle Shanahan's initials on his body and Kyle Shanahan has Chris Sims' initials on his body. But I guess they're close, and Chris Sims reporting that the Niners are not interested in Tom Brady. It took a while to get to that point. Couldn't Kyle Shanahan maybe ended the drama 2 weeks ago and said, no, Jimmy Garoppolo is our quarterback, because we didn't hear anything about that. If I'm the Chargers, I would want Tom Brady. If I'm Tampa, I would want Tom Brady. If I'm the Patriots, I want Tom Brady, but I don't want him at the price that the Chargers or Tampa Bay is going to pay. That's the tricky part of all of this. Jeremy in Wisconsin joins us. Hi, Jeremy.
Hey, good morning, GP. Hope you guys are doing well. Real quick before my best and worst. So I'm currently driving the speed limit-ish, and I'm wondering, because of social distancing, if I would get a speeding ticket or not. Oh, whatever. So my best of the weekend, my kids got to finish up their youth soccer games on Saturday and Sunday. So it was nice. I was hoping to see maybe ESPN there to get some coverage, but not so much the case. And unfortunately, though, as a response from that, on Sunday afternoon, we heard that all YMCA events in the future will now be canceled. So kind of a bummer there.
All right. Thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, try that social distancing with the police officer there. Tell me how that works out. Jonathan in Florida joins us. Then we'll talk to Rick Pitino. Hey, Jonathan.
What up, DP?
Hey, bud.
Hey, first time, long time. 5'7", 148. I'm with Fritzy and Seaton about the March Madness bracket. You can't release it. I feel like there's no point. It's just more salt in the wound. And I'm a Florida State alum, and this year I was really excited about. And then once it got canceled, I think it.
Yeah, because you're top 5 team. Yeah, I'm right there with you as a alum of the University of Dayton. Just the possibilities that you had with some of these schools that normally aren't there in the top 10. And, look, I think Kansas was still the best team that I saw this year, but it did feel wide open as to who would get to that championship game against Kansas. So this guy knows all about the Final Four. He's Rick Pitino, who took the job at Iona. But before we talk to you, Rick, I got to bring you back to last September when you were on the program and you had this to say. Do you think you coach again?
No, I wrote this book for closure because I don't think I'll ever coach again. And I wanted the truth to come out in a lot of different things. I don't think any university is going to hire me. And I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want them to go through it.
Would you hire you?
No. Yes. What's in this book is the truth, like you wouldn't believe.
Would you coach in the NBA?
I'm done coaching. I really am. Because,
like if the Nets called you?
No, I think the NBA is a grind. It's 100 games.
Too many games.
And although I'm in great shape, it's a grind. And I don't want to coach. I miss college terribly. It's a big part of my life. But I've got to learn to live without it, and because I know I'm not going to coach again.
So what changed, Coach?
Well, I think I was, and rightfully so, I was blackballed incorrectly for 2.5 years due to the Southern District of New York coming out and putting me in a complaint. And then actually 2.5 years later, they exonerated me by putting people on the witness stand who got up from Adidas representatives to the father of the recruit saying, I absolutely knew nothing about it. And it took 2.5 years for that to go to trial before I could be exonerated. That's one thing. The second thing is the Iona thing sort of was a lucky thing, and I'll tell you the genesis of it. When I left Louisville, my business partner was good friends with the president of Transylvania. And I left him and his wife tickets for a few Louisville games. He's a basketball fan. And he called me up and said, Coach, would you like me to call? There were 2 schools, high-powered schools that were semi-interested in me. Would you like me to call the presidents? I know what you're all about, and I'd be more than happy to do so. And I said, boy, that's real nice of you, but probably not going to matter too much, but thank you so much. And he did call one of the two. Well, that person moved on and became the Iona president. And he called my friend and said, is there any way, I was over in Greece, and is there any way that your friend would consider coaching at Iona? We may have a move here because our coach has been sick and we feel awful about it. He's meant so much to our school, and would he be interested? So I think it's circumstance more than anything else. I think it took 2.5 years to get exonerated. And I can't tell you how happy I am. I'm beyond happy because it's going home. It's 25 minutes from my apartment in New York City. It's 10 minutes from my son in Harrison, New York. So for me, it's a dream come true. It's a great way to end a career, and I can't tell you how excited I am.
Were you up for the St. John's job?
I was not.
Oh, but did you inquire about that?
I did not.
Okay, because there were published reports that said that you were trying to get the St. John's job a while ago.
No, I was actually interested in 3 jobs where I thought I had a legitimate shot. One was because Michigan was wooing Ed Cooley from Providence. I would have loved to gone back to a school I loved dearly, but he stayed at Providence. The other one was a small Catholic school in Worcester, Massachusetts, Holy Cross, that had an opening, and I knew a lot of the alumni and people on the board there. I was looking for a smaller situation that aspired to be much better than where they were at, and I was looking for a Catholic school. And this turned out to be even more perfect than Holy Cross because it's 25 minutes from where I live.
I also was thinking about this, knowing that we were going to have you on. You were ahead of the curve before, almost everybody with the weapon that the three-point shot was going to be. Back at Providence, you had guys got green lights. Billy Donovan, you could shoot the three. What was it about the three that you understood before most college and pro coaches did?
The fascinating thing about it is that I think it was the first 5 Big East games against John Thompson, Willie Massimino. I think it was PJ. The most any of the Louis Conaseca, the most any of those schools took in a game were 5 threes. I think they made 1 or 2 in all 5 games. And I was trying to take 18 to 25 threes. I took over a team that really lost all their players, and they were dead last in the Big East since the inception of the Big East, 7 straight years. And I not only needed a weapon, I needed a gimmick. I needed something that would overcome our lack of athleticism, and the three-point shot was it. We worked at it. We worked at it from an out-of-bounds situation, fast break situation, steal situation. Everything we built was around the three-point line. We led the nation in three-point shooting, and that was the key to going to a Final Four. And just pure math, what it's become today, you understand it. And even with the New York Knicks, we were known as the Bombinos, and we were averaging almost 118 points a game. And the three-point shot was a big weapon for us.
Was Paul Westhead the godfather of the three-point shot, or was
No, he was the godfather of fast break basketball scoring. He was basically, if he was a football coach, he would let the other team score so he could get the ball back. So he was the godfather to fast break, the numbered fast break. It wasn't so much the three-point line as it was the fast break. He believed in a style that would give you 115, 120 points a game.
Yeah, it was so much fun. But I remember that Providence team, and it looked like a lineup that I could have played in. Just you gave that feeling of, hey, this is all I got, and we're going to go out there. But look, every place you've gone, you're successful, and you just won a championship in Greece, and I expect you to be successful at Iona. The expectation level that you have on you and your team is what?
Well, Iona's coming off a difficult year because they lost a tremendous coach. Tim Cruz has done a fabulous job there. And one of the other reasons, Dan, I took the job is Dick Vitale said something to me. He said, you know how close I was to Jimmy V, and you knew him well. He said Jim Valvano always told him his favorite years were Iona College. And that stuck out with me because my 2 favorite years in coaching were Providence College. And Iona right now is down because they lost a great coach who got sick, and they went from 4 straight NCAAs out of 5 years to having a losing year, and their roster's depleted. So right now we've got to bring in probably 6 to 7 players. We've got to enhance the schedule. But the school itself, the president is the reason I went there. The athletic director is an outstanding AD. And the school, I'm friendly with the person who the business school is named after. Bob LaPenta is a good friend of mine. The chairman of the board I know quite well. So they have huge aspirations to not only make the basketball program much bigger, but to grow the school. And they think the basketball program is a vehicle to help grow the school as well. From the endowment to the enrollment, and the more exposure the basketball program gets in a positive way, the more the school will rise.
Are you going to schedule Louisville?
No. How quick was that answer? I may schedule if John. I spoke to Callie yesterday. He was nice enough to call me, but I would love to schedule Kentucky in the Garden in the Jimmy V Classic. I think that would be a great draw, and that would be exciting to see. And I hope John would entertain that.
Why don't you have Louisville, Kentucky, and Providence?
How about we have Kentucky, Providence, Iona, and St. John's?
Good to talk to you, Coach, and glad you're back in college basketball, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks, Dan. I'm super excited.
That's Rick Pitino. He's successful, and he fought hard to clear his name at Louisville. And, we got breaking news. Cowboys have placed the franchise tag on Dak Prescott. Yeah, it's the right thing. It's the right thing. We'll take a break. We'll come back, react to that. Also, best and worst of the weekend. We'll give you ours. But the Cowboys have tagged Dak Prescott. Back after this. Well, prior to the break, I told you the Cowboys franchise tag Dak Prescott. So he was going to make an average of $33 million a year with a guaranteed contract of $105 million. A source said the Cowboys offered that. That's what he reportedly passed on. So now he's going to get paid $33 million this year, and maybe they'll tag him again the following year where he probably make $35 million. Clarence Hill covers the Cowboys. Fort Worth Star-Telegram, kind enough to join us. Clarence, your reaction to this?
You know, it's not a surprise because, again, he turned down a $33 million deal, average deal back in September. There was silence until just a few weeks ago when the Cowboys upped the offer last week. And according to reports that, Dak recently made a counteroffer, but there's been silence since then. And clearly there's not been much movement. And the Cowboys, Jerry Jones had always said that they're going to retain Dak's rights no matter what, but they need the right deal for the Cowboys. Dak, I think it's more than just money. I think it's years. It's been a sticking point. Dak wants a shorter deal, 3 or 4 years, and the Cowboys want a longer deal in addition to, whatever difference they have on money.
Is there a mistake made by one side in this, in your opinion?
I think the Cowboys made a mistake last year by not getting it done. I mean, they did not read the tea leaves correctly. I remember before last year at the Combine, before last season, Stephen Jones said, we don't want to set the market, for Dak Prescott, but Dak Prescott is the biggest priority. They didn't get that done. That's before Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and Ben Roethlisberger and Carson Wentz and Jared Goff got big deals when the money was, I guess, relatively low at that point, and then it just skyrocketed. It's only continued to skyrocket. I mean, the market has continued to go up. You saw what Tannehill got yesterday. Carson, you saw the Minnesota quarterback has got a new deal.
Yeah, Cousins.
Something is likely going to come down before the season with Patrick Mahomes. The market's only going up, it's not going down.
But are they sold on Dak Prescott being a franchise quarterback?
Yes. I mean, everything they say they have, and again, let's be honest, they haven't been cheap. I mean, they've offered him $33 million annually in September, $105 guaranteed, and they've sent up that offer. So it's not like they're lowballing him, but they're not maximizing Dak's earnings. I guess Dak's looking to maximize his earnings, but it's not like they're giving him chump change.
Where does is that money going to Amari Cooper now?
Well, that's what we should be having, roughly about an hour and a half, for them to continue to negotiate with Cooper to get a deal done. Because if not, placing a tag on Prescott means that they could potentially expose Cooper to free agency if they don't get a deal done with him. So they can't use 2 tags. That's the thing about the new CBA. You can only use 1 tag.
Clarence, thanks for joining us. You'll have fun today, I'm sure.
I'm working. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Clarence. Clarence Hill, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Bengals have just franchise tagged A.J. Green. So fast and furious here leading up to noon Eastern. Yeah, Paul.
If you go back to the CBA, maybe the players should have fought to get rid of the franchise tag. No other sport has this. The NBA, which needs it more than anybody.
And you would think it would be flattering to say, you're our franchise guy. And these guys hate the franchise tag. And now you got Dak Prescott, a 1-year deal. And I guess, 1 year while working on getting a deal done. But if I'm Dallas at this point, I franchise him. I Kirk Cousin him. I franchise him this year, and I'll franchise him next year. But you're running the risk because imagine if you're signing after Patrick Mahomes signs his contract, what his numbers are going to do for every other quarterback after him. And it's not like somebody's going to go in and go, Patrick Mahomes is going to make $40 million. I'm the next quarterback up, and I want to make $41 million. Yeah, McLevin.
The franchise tag could work out for guys, though. Like, it helped Cousins. Remember, he kept getting his value way up, and that dude's going to make more money than anyone. He got tagged twice.
Yeah. But he wanted a long-term contract. Well, Dak wanted a 3-year deal, and the Cowboys wanted a 5-year deal.
What do you think Dak is really worth? Like, do you think another team would have gone into the 30s for him?
Well, that's the going rate, but I don't know who would look at him and say, that's the guy we want to have. Maybe Tampa would. Somebody like that, where you have a young team. If you put him in with a young team that's not going to be Dallas, Tampa Bay. I'm all in on Tampa, by the way. I got to get a jersey here. I'm all in. Tampa's making the playoffs next year. Yes, McLovin.
Your hunches like that often pay out. So I'm very interested now. Except you remember you had the Milwaukee Bucks really early, except you were a year too early.
I was a year early. I had Detroit making the playoffs a couple of years ago. They did. I was all in on the Bears 2 years ago when they made the playoffs. Yeah, I'm right there with Tampa. I'm starting to fall in love. Yeah, Paul.
What if they don't add at the quarterback position, though? Are you going to tap out?
No, I said that I that's subject to change if Jameis Winston is my starting quarterback. Because I would hedge my bet on that. Yes, Eden.
If you were going to give a 4-year, $118 million quarterback contract to a quarterback, would it be Tannehill or Dak?
Dak.
Right?
Yeah. It feels like Dallas will let Dak try to win a game. It didn't feel like the Titans were letting Ryan Tannehill try to win a game. And but Ryan Tannehill, I mean, it's an amazing offer because I didn't see it. And maybe, being there and being the starter and the whole, he took over from Mariota, but when he came over, I said he'll eventually be the starter in Tennessee. So I wasn't surprised. I was surprised that they were going to give him that deal. It's the going rate. I get it, but you're guaranteeing he's your quarterback at least for the next 2 years. And Derrick Henry, thanks for the memories here. Come on in for a year. Then he's probably with somebody else. But there is no market for running backs. Yes, Dude,
that dude got the crap beat out of him every single game in the playoffs, and they're like, here's...
But imagine Tannehill is handing off to him 30 times a game. And
exactly.
He's going,
all he did was turn and give the ball to...
Yeah. There's 8 more yards for you. Come back to the huddle. Hey, good job, Derek. I'm going to give it to you again.
Like, there's no way Ryan Tannehill was sore after any of those games. Unless it was from twisting.
His arm.
It was just twisting.
His
Here
arm.
you go. Here, this is for you.
Man,
you
honey,
take this.
I'm sore. What from? You didn't do anything in the game. I had to turn and hand it off to him. Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, going back to the CBA, that's another thing. The running back should have asked for their own rookie contract, a 2-year rookie contract or 3-year rookie contract for running backs so you get to your second contract faster.
You need to have a 3-year or 4-year deal for a first-round running back, and you need to have a separate salary cap for quarterbacks. I think that would solve everything. We're too late. It's another 10 years from now. I'm going to bring it up. Paulie, bring it up in 10 years from now.
Write it down.
Yeah, bring it up in 10 years. Yes, McLovin.
Now you have me so excited about the Bucks. Imagine Brady throwing to Mike Evans. That'd be like 2007 Randy Moss.
If Brady goes to the Buccaneers, they're making the playoffs. And I'll take bets on that. Wheel of punishment, shower of shame. That's how confident I'm starting to feel about my Buccaneers. Yeah, Paul.
We're going to edit out the Brady part just that you say the Bucks are going to the playoffs. We're just going to clip that out.
Oh, God. I hope they get somebody. If they, I love Jameis, but I love him just for the entertainment part of this, where, good God, does he entertain me. Sometimes in a negative way. All right. Final hour coming up. Reggie Miller will join us. So you think the regular season is over in the NBA, and what would be the solution? Do you start the playoffs in June? Do you have 7-game series, 5-game series? So Reg will join us coming up. Last call for phone calls in the final hour, best and worst of the weekend. We will give you hours coming up. Dan Patrick Show.
Where are we, dude?
Oh, this is the legendary Commodore Bar and Restaurant in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Looks like an old building. It doesn't look like a bar or a restaurant.
That's because it used to be a speakeasy, so it's kind of hidden.
Cool. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. No, it's a speakeasy. You have to do a special knock. Hello? One of the great things about the Commodore, F. Scott Fitzgerald himself used to drink here.
I love that guy.
Huh.
Can you name one F. Scott Fitzgerald book besides Great Gatsby? All right, Paul, we're at the Deco Bar in the Commodore. Now, this is Anthony. Now, Anthony, tell us about some of the luminaries who used to drink here.
F. Scott Fitzgerald drank here.
What do you drink?
Gin. Okay. A lot of gin. So we're going to do our version of Fitzgerald. It's one of our signature cocktails. We use the Du Nord Fitzgerald gin. A little house-made sour.
Whoa.
I'm going to finish that off with a little Angostura bitters.
Do you feel more literary, Paul?
I can read. What's the Commodore's take on an old-fashioned?
So we kind of do a little bit more of a pre-prohibition style to this.
Pre-prohibition? That means this is an illegal cocktail.
Yeah, what's the story here? Where was the speakeasy?
The speakeasy was actually down in the basement.
Now, was there a special knock, or how did you get in? I mean, guys like us,
we're fine.
You know, you definitely had to know someone to get in.
Our knock is, we know Dan Patrick. We know Dan Patrick.
So we have 4 Roses bourbon, a little bit of simple syrup, some orange bitters, Peychaud, and Angostura.
I can't lie to you. I may not drink that. It's too good looking.
Why do I have a feeling that's not true?
Anthony, thanks a lot for having us.
Buddy. Absolutely.
We're
See you,
heading
Andrew.
out.
See you, Polly.
Take care.
Who are these guys?
Dude, that place was legit. Yeah, I noticed you tried pretty much every historical drink there.
Well, one in Rome. Where are we off to next? What kind of cool spot you got for us?
Something glamorous. We're going shopping for more wool socks.
Nice. Maybe some long underwear. It's cold, dude.
All right, scoreboard time. What are you thinking? We got a 12.
I told you. I told you this
17.
morning.
You're gonna tell
I
me again.
I walked in.
We're
I
gonna
go.
pretend you didn't get it immediately.
I got it immediately.
Brady Tannehill.
So the
See what you
first.
just did? See what you just did?
I know.
You just did a walk
The
by.
first day
Yeah.
you do this contest, if you guess this, you get some DP
You
show
do realize
gear.
how extra creative these days we're gonna have to be with that. There's no score.
Well, that wasn't creative.
What would you have had? Ooh,
Wow.
what? You just swished it in there from underhand swish from 3-point line.
Underhanded swish from 3 is
That's ridiculous.
It's pretty good.
Underhand swish 3-point.
Yeah,
It's like
with,
With
I mean,
drinking.
just and talking to you at the
and,
same
and
time.
getting that within
Yes,
0.7 seconds.
You've got to do
I
better
do have to-
tomorrow.
I
'cause
nailed that in a little bit.
I know, but
But like, there's no games or scores or jerseys. We have to wait for.
I shouldn't be able to walk in and get it right. If I do, I should get to hit you in the face with a
Oh
pipe.
no.
Yeah, I think
like that.
So I shouldn't do Derrick Henry and Dak Prescott tomorrow. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, you can't give it, and don't give any hints.
Yes, wait. I am concerned about how we're going to do this with no games or.
No, there's always people in the
numbers.
news.
I just gave away.
Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick. Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show, where no disease can prevent us
keeping us calm and letting us know what's going on.
from bringing you the best in sports talk.
Jim Boeheim.
Those guys have worked their tails off. I mean, it's all gone. I don't know what the answers are. I just feel for all these college athletes that have worked their whole life, and now that's gone.
John Oran, Sports Business Journal. How do you quantify the impact that this is going to have on the sports world?
The trickle down, nobody knows anything. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what it's going to look like a week from now, 2 weeks from now, or a month from now. They're just trying to react more than plan out.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave.
You got a hobby?
This is Dan Patrick.
Final hour on this Monday, Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. McLovin is joining us via Skype. He's at home with his kids in his apartment. Are the kids behaving, McLovin?
Yeah, basically, I try and mute every time they come by. They've asked what's going on up here. My 7-year-old is really fascinated with the Dak Prescott tag and agrees with Seton that how can Dak make less than Ryan Tannehill.
In case you're just joining us, the Bengals have tagged A.J. Green. The Cowboys have tagged Dak Prescott. Derrick Henry got tagged by the Titans. Ryan Tannehill is getting paid about $90 million guaranteed for handing off to Henry. So that's what's happening. Kirk D. Cousins got his contract extended by 2 years in Minnesota, but that's the news right now. We got an hour left on this with the franchise tag, and still no word on how many teams are truly interested in Tom Brady. I'm going to guess at least 2, New England and Tampa, and maybe the Chargers are that mystery team in there. Maybe there's somebody else that comes in, but I think the Patriots had no problem saying to Tom Brady, you want to check your value in the market, we'll wait for you, and it looks like that might benefit them. Unless Tampa comes in and says, look, what's it going to take? And I've already heard that they're saying to Tom, you can be involved in personnel decisions. Not that Brady wants to be involved in that, but I think what they're saying is, what do you want? I don't know if the Chargers are willing to commit to that, and New England maybe getting Tom Brady at a discount, if that's possible. James in Tampa joins us. Hey, James, what do you have for me today?
How you doing, Dan? Hope you're feeling well today.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm 5'8", 166.
Yep.
I want to take you up on your bet about the Tampa Bay Bucks going to the playoffs, even if they have Tom Brady or whoever they have.
Okay.
I know you said you had your bet if it was Winston, but yeah, I'm a Dallas fan, but it's not going to happen. I don't care who the quarterback is in Tampa; they're not going to playoffs.
Okay, all right, James. All right, naysayers there, Mr. Negative. I got Tampa making the playoffs here. Got a lot of weapons there on offense. They got a sneaky good defense there as well, and I got Tampa. Depending on who the quarterback is, I get to make my official decision once I know who their quarterback is.
Like if they got Mahomes, then you're all in.
Then I'm going to be all in there.
Yeah.
If they got Teddy Bridgewater, I'm all in as well. Jameis Winston, not as much. Update the poll results if you can, McLevin.
Was it appropriate for the NFL to have free agency? 89% said yes.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Unless it goes back to this, if you can't do your job, whether the free agent can't do his job in meeting with teams, if you're putting somebody in danger there, or the teams can't do their due diligence, and I understand that. But from the entertainment side of this, I'm not bothered by what Ryan Tannehill is making. Can you believe they're talking about that kind of money, and look at what's happening with the country? I get that. But I'm okay. It's not disrupting my life in any way. Ramona Shelburne, ESPN NBA Insider, senior writer, and had a deep dive into what happened last Wednesday night with Oklahoma City and Utah, and kind enough to join us to talk about that. Good morning, Ramona. And how will Rudy Gobert be remembered when it comes to this?
Dan, I think the term we're all looking for is useful idiot, right? Right? When you look back on that moment, it feels like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Yes.
Because so much has happened since that, and it was really just last week. But I remember that morning, Rudy Gobert was, we started the hearing. Rudy Gobert's out with an illness a couple days after he had that press conference where he was licking everyone's microphones, and everybody was like, yeah, that's like one of those things that goes around on social media. Like, you didn't think that was like a real thing. I wonder if he has the coronavirus, right? I mean, it was literally like that level of, it felt like a joke. And it was obviously true. And I think what was so incredible for me in just reporting on this and kind of piecing together the timeline of everything was, how there was a small handful of people who knew Wednesday morning that Rudy Gobert was being tested for COVID-19. And that group included, the Utah Jazz, their trainers, the people, some people in the league office, and county health officials in Oklahoma City. But the NBA Board of Governors was having a conference call that day talking about scenarios and best case, worst case scenarios, et cetera. And they couldn't know that because we have federal privacy laws, right? So they had to be debating these things in their own time. And at that time, it still felt like a lot to be canceling fans at games, right? I mean, we were still talking about is there a way to gradually ease into this social distancing? Is there a way to keep playing the games and, just limit the number of people in the arena? And I can only imagine the NBA officials on the phone having this conversation, letting the owners have their say, everybody coming to their own level of acceptance with this, while in the back of their minds knowing, well, if Rudy Gobert has come back positive, we're all shutting down anyway. And that's exactly what happened a few hours later.
What if he didn't test positive?
I think that's the question. I don't think they would have shut down.
Yeah.
The plan was after that Board of Governors meeting, everyone was going to sleep on it. The president was going to give an address that night, so I think a lot of owners wanted to see what he was going to say first. But the plan was for Adam Silver to basically say, okay, no more fans at games in the morning. I think that's what would have happened if Gobert would have tested negative. And we've all been, all the experts say the sooner you do this, the better. And so I think that's where I keep coming up with that useful idiot term, right? I mean, it's just, he's since apologized for being so cavalier about this, for joking around about it. But he may have saved a lot of lives because we would probably still be playing games and exposing a lot of people.
Yeah, I call him the inadvertent hero because I think he's going down in history. He'll be mentioned when it comes to this virus, good or bad. We're talking to Ramona Shelburne, ESPN NBA insider, senior writer. What options do you think the NBA is going to have if they resume basketball, let's say, in mid-June?
Yeah, I don't see a world in which we pick that regular season back up. It just doesn't, why would you try to cram in the last, 10 games of the year or something? It doesn't feel like important right now to even be thinking about that. I can see a world where we have a playoffs, whether it's a full playoffs or a limited playoffs, I'm not sure. I think everybody would like to have some conclusion to the season, whether that takes place in June, July, August. That would be good. But I don't know. The one thing Adam Silver keeps saying is the more the best experts that you talk to, they've been consulting with just the best experts, right? I saw Dr. David Ho. He's one of the groundbreaking doctors on HIV and AIDS, right? He's now one of the lead doctors trying to find a vaccine for coronavirus and treatment options, right? The NBA has been consulting with him because they've known him since Magic Johnson days, right? When they had to deal with HIV and try to understand the science of that. They like the best experts in the world. The one thing that they continue to say to everyone, and especially the NBA, is there's so much about this that we don't know. And so, to say that I think we're going to be back in June, I don't know. When the league shut down, I thought we'd be back in May.
Yeah.
Now we're thinking late June.
Yeah. It was a great read, Ramona. You did a wonderful job recapping that in real time, the timeline of what happened last Wednesday. That'll be part of NBA history. We appreciate you joining us.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Dan.
That's Ramona Shelburne, ESPN NBA insider, senior writer. Here's something to keep an eye on. The Michael Jordan 10-part documentary that ESPN is going to roll out was scheduled to roll out in June. Now, it said coming in June. Now I saw where it's coming soon. If I'm ESPN and I can roll this, if it's ready to roll out, now I have somebody who's involved in this, and I'm trying to find out, is it all done? Because if it's all done, then I would be rolling this out now. The eyeballs you would get every single night. If you want to separate, one night, I would love if they had something where you had a discussion before it and after it with Jordan. Now, he won't be doing it, but if you had your NBA guys get together and just talk about, give their Jordan memories, or the people who were involved in this, or if you could do it via social media where you set up something, like Real Time with Bill Maher does, their social media on YouTube after the show. If you did something like that, able to get people together to discuss it, I think it would be, a great 3-hour block of programming there with Michael Jordan. And I think it's a 10-part series, but I would be surprised if they waited till June to roll this out, because we don't even know what's going to happen in June. We don't know. But I think it would be pretty amazing. It's going to be amazing TV anyway, because it's Jordan. And if you have nothing else to watch, all eyeballs are going to be on you. I'd be rolling that thing out as soon as I could. In the next 2 weeks, I'd definitely say coming sooner. Instead of it went from coming in June to coming soon to coming sooner. It's coming now. Yes, Paul.
I was reading about some of the details in trying to get the Michael Jordan documentary, the Bulls documentary earlier. There's other producing partners they outsource the show to, and they have to get their approval. But if I worked on this documentary, imagine the amount of eyeballs you're going to have on it. Like you said, you're going to get a lot anyway, but you'll have, people who aren't even sports fans will be tuning in.
Yes, because there's a cultural phenomenon, social phenomenon, basketball phenomenon. And I think, that's what Jordan was and still is to some degree to people. But you'd be reintroducing Jordan, the basketball player, to a whole new generation. And if you put it on at like 7 o'clock, 7:30 at night, let everybody be able to see it. Do it at 8 o'clock at night. But, and if, kids aren't having school and they're able to watch this, like, you're going to get a lot of eyeballs on it. And a lot of people are going to be talking about it. I haven't seen anything leaked about, is there anything controversial in here with Jordan? But 10-part series, I just saw where the man who went to prison for killing Michael's dad is up for parole. But I don't know anything else about if he's going to be denied parole or not. I just saw where he was up for parole. Yes, McLevin.
At this point, I'd want the documentary on anyway. Michael Jordan Jr. would be good. You're right. I can't. I mean, 30 for 30s are going to be great. Obviously, they're probably filming one on Rudy Gobert right now. Do you think documentarians will focus on him down the road?
Yes, I think that would be a 30 for 30. We're already doing a documentary on Rudy Gobert as we speak. It's going on day by day, hour by hour in our country. And look, he's getting a lot of blame here, but it's the vitriol that's there should stop. Like, he made a mistake. He didn't know he made a mistake. He'll live with this the rest of his life. In some way, that's why he's sort of, we didn't think that he was going to be a hero. That's why I call him the inadvertent hero. He wasn't trying to be, but he may turn out to be, because if he doesn't test positive, we would have continued to play basketball. And we may have continued to act and react like we always do as a society. Maybe we look back and say, because he tested positive, he did something really great. And that's why it's inadvertent, unintentional. But it might be something that saves lives. Yeah, McLevin.
So there's going to be a lot of 30 for 30s on here. That means lots of you on TV. You don't have to give clearance to use all sports centers.
No, whatever I did at ESPN, they own.
We're going to see a lot of you in the coming weeks because they're doing a lot of 30 for 30s.
Yeah, I was surprised that they didn't interview me for the Jordan documentary series, from the standpoint of I did all of those NBA finals with him and did all those interviews with him. And it really gave me a better it was revealing for me to sit down with him in that, it could have been a 5-minute window there where we're doing the interview. But the time before he comes in and gets on the air to after he's done and he gets up to leave, I got a really good window into who Jordan was, the person. and his competitiveness. And he loved doing that interview because he loved being challenged with fun questions, interesting questions. He said this. And, their PR department said, look, Mike loves doing it. He's not going to do every game, that he'll always do it after they win a championship. And Jordan always did that. But, I don't know if I would offered anything that was really illuminating other than that night when he hit the shot to beat the Jazz, win the championship, and we thought that was the last shot he was ever going to take. And that's when I did the interview with him. And when he got up, he's got his shirt tail out, he's soaked in champagne, he's got the basketball, his shoes are off, and he's got a Cuban cigar. And I say, man, it's a shame you're retiring. And he turns around, he's like, why is that? And I said, man, I'd like a piece of you. And that's when he said, get your bleep up. How would you bleep and guard me? Now, so Phil Jackson's to my right, and I'm going to interview Phil Jackson. They're going to come back from commercial break. I'm going to interview Phil Jackson. And Michael says, how would you guard me? So I put my forearm in the middle of his back, and that's when he said, I would bleep and torch you. And then he walked out the door. And then I looked over at Phil, and he goes, you see what I dealt with every day? And I went, oh, my God. They came back from commercial break, threw it back out, and I'm interviewing Phil Jackson after having that moment with Michael Jordan. But that would be great. It'd be great if they do that documentary. You could play it now and bring it back in June if you wanted to, if it's available. Yeah, Paul.
I caught some of the Dream Team documentary on NBA TV. I've seen it about a dozen times, but they showed the scrimmage between Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan, where it was just a regular scrimmage, but Magic at the start of the scrimmage started talking smack because he felt threatened. This is what the players were saying, that Magic Johnson was feeling threatened, that like it was not his league anymore and Michael Jordan was taking over. And then he starts talking smack to Jordan, and Jordan goes, oh, you want to go? And you could hear him saying it. You can't hear a lot of audio. But they cut to Scottie Pippen, and Scottie, you know how Scottie talks? He goes, Michael had that look in his face. He goes, I just gave him the ball and said, you guys have no idea what you're in for now. He goes, it's on. And then Michael just lit him up for half an hour.
There's so many stories because we didn't have social media back then. And then when these guys tell these stories after the fact, because they didn't want to do it in real time where they complimented Jordan all the time because they had to compete against him. But after the fact, that's when you get some real answers from these guys. Adam in Indiana joins us. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Dan. I'm glad you guys are providing a little bit of normalcy to the work week. It's nice hearing you guys come on Monday. But I just wanted to add a little bit to the Tannehill story. I'm a diehard Dolphin fan, and Tannehill, I'd say with most other Dolphin fans, we love Tannehill. He was about the most durable quarterback there was up until we gave him $90 million.
Yeah, that's not good, but thank you, Adam. Yeah. Tannehill had some moments there. He really did. Former wide receiver. He was athletic, big quarterback there. All right, we'll take a break. Reggie Miller is set to join us. What's he think will happen with the NBA regular season? Is it over with? And we'll start maybe in 8 weeks playing basketball again. So we'll talk to Reggie right after this. Discover the Discover credit card, by the way, Fritzy.
I love discovering and rediscovering.
Well, because it matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year automatically with no limit on how much you can earn, which is amazing. It's so amazing. According to the 2019 Nielsen report, over 95% of the places in the United States that take credit cards take the Discover credit card. So get used to hearing the word yes more often. Learn more. Discover.com/yes. Discover.com/yes. Limitations apply.
So I had a lot of free time this weekend to come up with ideas. And
Correct.
most of them sucked. This one I feel pretty good about. Now, here's my idea for the NBA. Imagine if groups of 5 NBA players team up to play a game of horse remotely. So let's say Russell Westbrook's at home in his backyard. He's probably got a hoop, and you post your shot, and you get one take to do it, and then you tag 4 other NBA players, and you go bang, 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 and you go around.
Yeah, that's fun.
And you just find 5 guys around the league. This is my idea for the NBA. A game of horse remotely. So Russell Westbrook goes, and then Paul George, and LeBron James, and they each get one take. Someone holds their camera, one of their family members, and you go on their backyard court and shoot it. And it keeps going. We do a lot, like a semi-live game of horse.
I like it.
So,
They can trash talk also each other after taking shots.
Yeah, so Russ Westbrook could do his at breakfast, LeBron does his at lunch, Paul George in the afternoon,
I'd
and it
watch
keeps
that.
going until they all get hoarse. What do you think?
I'm into it.
Yeah,
I'd
it's
totally
fun.
watch
It's a
that.
lot of fun.
I got to get some. Mark Cuban liked the idea.
Oh.
So Mark may have a chance to make this happen. He could get Luka to do it, maybe. If Luka starts it, then we got something.
Yeah, then you got
Then
something.
you go into
really
national.
rolling. Yeah. Yeah, that's fun.
Stay tuned for this one.
Nice.
We are Joe into
Just got this memo from the NFL in consideration of current information related to COVID-19 and guidance from medical experts such as the CDC, and in coordination with public authorities in Nevada and the city of Las Vegas, the NFL will modify its plans for the 2020 NFL Draft. This according to the NFL commissioner. The club's selection of players will proceed as scheduled April 23rd through 25th. The NFL is exploring innovative options for how the process will be conducted and will provide that information as it becomes available. The selection process will be televised. Here we didn't think we'd have too much to talk about today. I got all these franchise tags, including Dak Prescott and Derrick Henry, still waiting on the Tom Brady news. Whenever that happens, we make way for the great Reggie Miller, Hall of Famer, Turner Sports NBA analyst. Man, crazy times here, Reg. How are you?
I'm doing great. Unprecedented times. These are obviously in our lifetime. We've never seen anything like this. You know, sports used to be the great escape of everyday life, going to the movies, shows in Broadway, and, all taken away. So I hope this puts things in perspective of the important things in life. And, now, to me, family time takes even more importance because, you're being asked to, hunker down and stay at home. So, we get caught up on, I got to be at my next gig and, I got to get, to work and I got to do this. It's time to slow down and appreciate the things that have always been in front of you, and that's, family time and your loved ones and friends, and I think we're kind of getting back to that a little bit, Theodore.
What happens, though, let's say in 8 weeks or whenever it is, when the NBA comes back, is the regular season over?
I don't think it's over because I believe they will play anywhere between 5 to 10 games for players to get rhythm. But to me, there's many more questions, even before that. like what's going to happen with the draft, right? So
Yeah.
that gets pushed back. Let's say we start mid-June to late June, and you have 5 to 10 games, and then you go straight into the playoffs. We're looking at the end of July, the beginning of August for around the NBA Finals. So then you have the draft right after that. Do you have a modified version of Summer League play and free agency? What about the start of next season? What are the dates on that? Does that start end of October and November like it normally does, or does that get pushed to December? Bigger question, Theodore, what happens of the 16 teams, let's say we do play, and a player tests positive of COVID-19, let's say, end of June, going into the playoffs?
Yeah.
Do we start this process all over again?
Yeah, maybe. Well, I
That's
think that
why
they're trying to
Go ahead.
separate as much as they can so, that they don't have that come up. That's where people are like, we should be back to normal in 2 weeks. I go, no, maybe 2 months. Maybe 2 months, and even it might be later than that. And I told the Danettes, I have a friend who's in the CIA, and he said just in the tri-state area, they think that we'll be back to normal maybe in June, and that's coming from somebody in the CIA. Anybody's guess right now, but where we are with sports, with this, delaying baseball, the NBA, NHL, all the golf stuff. The draft stuff, there's a lot of things that are in flux right now.
I will certainly say this, because let's say we do start mid-June to late June. We are certainly not going to put fans at risk. I really do believe that. So I think if they do come back and play games, they will be in empty arenas, which to me will be difficult. I think it'll be fine for the players, but I'm sure the fans – it's going to hurt the fans because obviously they want to see the games, but you can't put fans in harm's way, obviously. You don't want anyone who is still dealing with these type of issues wherever they are to be affected by this. But there's some benefits to some teams. For instance, Portland. They could get Yusef Nurkic and Zach Collins back, 2 starters. Right now, they're 3.5 back of Memphis. Now you get 2 starters back. Again, you're only playing 5 to 10 regular season games. Is that enough time to catch Memphis for that 8th spot? What about the Philadelphia 76ers? Last time we checked, Ben Simmons, Embiid were hurt.
Yeah.
Now they both come back, and they're pretty much healed. They were on a down slope, but now you get your 2 best players back and probably healthy. And a long shot here, Brooklyn. Does Kevin Durant come back?
Oh, boy.
There's a possibility, right?
Yes, yes, there is.
There's a possibility he would come back and play for the playoffs. If you're giving him till mid-June to end of June to come back and play, that's another, month and a half, 2 months? I could see him possibly coming back. And right now, if the playoffs were to begin, they would face Toronto in the first round.
What did you make of Spencer Dinwiddie, speaking of the Nets? He proposed a 2018 tournament to replace, like NCAA style, to replace the rest of the season. When you come, now I don't like 28 teams, but if let's say we did 16 teams and you did round robin, have 4 number 1 seed, however you want to do it, but you could create something that was unique just for this year alone.
For the college game?
No, for the NBA.
Look, we need to take a step back and pause. Because there's real issues going on. I know people are having sports withdrawal, and I get it, and I understand it because I'm one of them. But these are real issues, and until we understand what we are really dealing with in the transmission and how easy it can be transmitted, I think we need to pause on what could go down, what should go down. We need to take a step back and breathe a little bit first before we start, let's do this, let's do that. There's real everyday people that are being affected by this, and I think we just need to pause. Well,
you think it's insensitive to try to figure out what the NBA is going to be like in June?
I'm really questioning if that's really going to happen, because the one scenario I'll keep thinking about is, what if someone, slowly but surely, I mean, Christian Wood just tested positive, right? The big man from Detroit. What if in a month, in May 15th, another player tests positive? So that slows it down again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And what if someone, when we start back up in mid-June, late June, tests positive?
Do you think we have an NBA champion this year?
I really hope we do, but
I think you think no.
I think no, because I just don't see how. If worst case scenario happens, if players continue to test positive, you're continuing to delay this, and I hope we get, obviously testing, but we get better knowledge of what we're dealing with. I hope we play. Again, I'm having withdrawals like the rest of you guys, but.
Did you backtrack in your mind, Reg, of did you come in contact with Rudy Gobert?
I didn't. I had one Utah game, but it was like in, I believe, in December.
Okay. And I was curious that everybody in their minds, whoever came in contact with Utah and Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert are probably going, wait a minute.
But again, how about this? If he never would have got tested, I think they would have continued to play games.
Yes, I do too. He's the inadvertent hero.
He saved a lot of people. Officials, fans. I mean, this was a trickle-down effect. Thank God he got tested. I know he's getting a lot of blowback for the whole, touching the mics and joking around thing, but he saved a lot of people. He really did.
Yeah, that's why I call him the inadvertent hero, because he didn't know what he was doing at the time, but if he doesn't test positive, I'm curious if Donovan Mitchell gets tested or Christian Wood with the Pistons, who is tested positive,
Correct.
And we continue to play games. You would have continued to had tournament games being played, and I don't know, how widespread this would have been, even more widespread than it is right now, because we still don't know. We don't have accurate numbers.
And Theodore, the players would have continued to somewhat interact with fans. I know, there was, an initiative going out that, obviously no, hand touching and limiting autographs, but basketball players, professional, college, high school, because high school is just as big as college now, as much, as they follow AAU and BR hoops and all that. Basketball fans are so recognizable. People come up and they want to take pictures. They want to, hug. That's transmission.
Is this the end of the high five?
Yes, it should be. This should be the end of handshaking.
And also free throws. After you make or miss, then there's no dap.
Yeah, yes. And people don't understand, especially I can only speak for basketball because I played it for 18 years professionally, the close proximity you are in timeouts. You're discussing intimate play in the ear of your teammate. Hey, I'm going to do the back screen here. You're always in close proximity of your teammates. Truthfully, I'm surprised more NBA players have not tested positive, because in the locker rooms, in the showers, on the training table, on the buses, in the airplanes, in film sessions, you're on top of one another all the time. So I'm surprised it hasn't been more NBA players, really.
Hey, I just saw this. Kevin Durant, business partner, Rich Kleiman, he was on with Golick and Wingo this morning and talked about the chance of Durant playing in June or July. Quote, not very realistic. Honestly, not very realistic from my standpoint, and not even spoken about. So if it extends into June or July, then probably not something that Durant would be involved in. So I just saw that.
but we also didn't think that he was going to play for Golden State in the finals as well.
Yeah, but I don't want him coming back this year. I
don't want him coming back.
No.
I didn't say he would come back. I'm saying they could benefit from a Kevin Durant if he decided. Look, say he wanted to come back and play one game of that series.
Yeah.
Say it was 3-3, and he wanted to play in Game 7.
No, I don't want him back.
I don't want him back
No,
either,
no.
but he's a baller and he's a competitor.
I know.
I wouldn't be surprised. I was just telling you, I just wouldn't be surprised.
I got something for you. Paulie has an idea that we think we could still have some basketball. We do horse, so it's by remote. Like you take a shot, and then all of a sudden Damian Lillard tries to match that shot. And then LeBron tries to match that shot. Then Westbrook does. And then Luka does it. So you could do it from your backyard. We could play horse by remote. What do you think?
Okay, question on this.
Okay.
Say I take a 35-footer and make it.
Yeah.
And Damian Lillard is up next. Is this in live time? Are we FaceTiming so it's real time? What's to say he's not cut and editing it until he makes it?
No, it's the honor system.
Hold on. You're asking NBA fans to be the honor system. Are you kidding me?
Paulie, what a stupid idea.
Oh. No, this is real time. I get it. But you're asking us to really?
Okay, how about this?
I'm going to shoot until I make it.
Reg, how about I get 5 guys remotely in real time, so you take your shot, and then it'll be Lillard takes his shot, Paul George takes it.
Right. Okay. I'm intrigued.
Okay.
But if you're asking me I can cut, paste, and edit, and take my time, I'm going to win this tournament.
And you would think Paulie would know that because he's not very trusting. That that he. But if we did it in real time and we did 5 guys each day, and then you moved on, the winner moves on to the next day, and maybe we do some kind of grand prize or something. I don't know, but we're just thinking outside the box here.
We
Right?
need sports back. We need something back.
Yes, we do. All right.
We do.
But
we do.
It would be fun though if I got 5 guys on one day and then 5 guys the next day, and all of a sudden we get down to Alan Crabb taking shots too, and
real time though, Theodore.
Oh, I know.
Oh, Paulie, real time.
Hey, we just heard from Mark Cuban. What did Cuban say, Paulie?
I posted that this weekend, and Cuban hit like. He said he thought it was cool.
Okay, there you go.
He's very trusting, so am I.
That's all we need. Shark Tank money, man. That's what we get.
Oh, you think so? He would back us. Short. I like it. Okay, but it's got to be real time. Don't trust these NBA players. Do not trust us.
All right. Hey, good to talk to you. Not sure when we'll talk again, but thanks for joining us today, Reg.
I appreciate it. Everyone be safe. Danette, Theodore, hug your loved ones. And it's good to spend, obviously, quality family time. That's most important. But stay safe, please, for your family.
It's Reggie Miller, Hall of Famer. Yeah, I've told, I had relatives up yesterday, but I used the excuse of, hey, social distancing. They're like, really? And I go, yeah. And so we did elbows. I said, yeah, I've got to keep my distance here. Yeah, Paul.
How can you not get out of this one? At this time, you think you could go on lockdown at your house?
I said to my wife, I said, look, my immune system's been compromised. I don't know if we should have guests over. And then she goes, I think you'll be okay. I said, okay. All right. Bring in these people in the house.
What a great way to just avoid seeing people.
I know.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, we can't.
I thought I'd figured it out. She's like, oh, we got to celebrate my brother's birthday. And I said, yeah, but they probably shouldn't have it here. And she goes, no, I think you'll be okay. Yeah. Yes, Paul.
I was going to say, speaking for all of us, we all love sitting around on the couch doing nothing all weekend, eating and avoiding people. We just don't like being told to do it.
Yeah. We'll take a break here. We'll come back. Best and worst of the weekend. We have to give our best and worst of the weekend. And we'll do so right after this. Final results of the poll question. We'll get to McLovin. Once again, the NFL draft will take place, but without fans. And this will be April 23rd through the 25th. I was looking at Vegas and what you can bet on. And some of the casinos are booking Brazilian UFC. You can also bet on Mexican League Soccer, Australian rules football, and Australian rugby. Those are some of the things that people are betting on. Boy, that's when you know you're a degenerate. Hey, what are you betting on? Oh, Australian rules Brazilian UFC, of course. McLovin, final results of the poll question.
89% think it was appropriate for the NFL to have free agency this week.
All right. Busy day here. It's already been a busy day with some of the franchise tags. Dak Prescott, the draft is going to take place. Kirk T. Cousins got a 2-year extension. Derrick Henry got tagged by the Titans. And A.J. Green got tagged by the Bengals. Let's see, a couple of phone calls. Jeff in California, and then we'll give our best and worst of the weekend. Hey, Jeff.
What's going on, DP?
Hey, bud.
First time, long time, 6'3", 220. Can't believe first time I'm calling in 15 years is about the coronavirus and the NBA. But anyways, I have an idea about the scheduling. So what I would do, and this makes perfect sense to me, so I know they won't do it. Come back for this year, play about 5 to 10 games, let the players get their feet under them, have the entire playoffs good to go. So I guess we're thinking probably timeline would be around, I guess, August it would end. I think it was the 2013 season where we started on Christmas because of the lockout. We had we had a 60-game schedule. I think that was the LeBron and KD finals. Why not just do that? Nobody complained then. So that way you actually have almost an entire season right now, and then you have almost an entire season in 2021.
Yeah, I think there are going to be people coming up with a lot of different variations here. Thank you, Jeff. So you're not alone there, but we don't know when they're coming back. And until then, it's hard to really handicap this and say, this is what I think is going to happen. I would be surprised the playoffs or the regular season would continue. I would think you'd get to that point where you'd say, unless you want to give teams a couple of games to get ready, do you do a 5-game schedule for everybody? And then you just pick up where the schedule left off? So there's questions here, obviously, but we have a lot of time to sort through this. Best and worst of the weekend, Todd.
Best of the weekend, Reds pitcher Trevor Bauer hosted a Sandlot charity wiffle ball game Saturday in Arizona. All proceeds donated to support MLB staff members out of work due to coronavirus. Also set up a GoFundMe account trying to raise $1 million. He joins us on the show tomorrow. And worst of the weekend, Selection Sunday coming and going. No matchups, seedings, regions, burst bubbles, or bracket sheets to fill out.
McLovin.
Okay, my best was I was watching Westworld on HBO, and guess who shows up? Marshawn Lynch is the character. He was great. He was really good. Worst is having to do the math on how much toilet paper I have left because there's none of this here in Brooklyn. I don't know if you guys have it. Todd, thinking of you. We are already running out.
Seton O'Connor, best and worst.
My best of the weekend, I watched this movie called Swallow. And it's the subject matter is really heavy, for sure. It's a dark movie, but you could probably just cancel the Oscars right now because it should win Best Picture, Best Actress, Best whatever. It's phenomenal. It's a fantastic movie. You should watch it. And the bad part is it was supposed to be, it's like a limited release in theaters. Like you can rent it online and watch it on like Netflix or something, but they were going to do a release this week in theaters.
Who was in it?
Some people I never, Haley something. I've never heard of her. It's all like unknowns. It's a phenomenal movie. It's really good, but it is really dark, so you have to be prepared for that. But
is it a scary movie?
It's a thriller, but it isn't scary.
Okay.
It's more like an intense psychological kind of thing. Oh my gosh, it's so good though. Great movie. My worst of the weekend is that I've pretty much eaten through all of my food that I had stocked up for Armageddon. There was one point last night where I was like, we already ate through 2 bags of potato chips, and I was like, damn it, I'm going to risk my life to go get more potato chips right now. I can't believe I'm doing this. Yeah.
Oh, cavalier of you. Paulie.
I got 2 best. First, CBS Sports. CBS having all the old title games on. Got NCAA basketball, like Big Ten championship, all those. Those were really fun to watch this weekend. Rewatching the other best of the weekend, rewatching the I Hate Christian Laettner 30 for 30. If that guy were playing in the social media era, how much bigger would he have been? But I don't think you could overstate how polarizing a figure he was in college basketball. We can't name 6 college basketball players. He was one in people's cover of the People magazine, and fascinating documentary.
I've been watching Devs, Devs, on Hulu. That's crazy stuff. I still haven't quite figured it out. I'm not smart enough, but it's pretty wild.
What's it about?
It's going back in time and being able to see Christ crucifixion. They've created this quantum something, and it's all about time travel. And
That sounds a little sci-fi-ish for you.
yeah, but the French kid told me about it, and I started watching it. And so I've watched, I think, 3 episodes. It's interesting. I don't know if it's great, but it's interesting. Todd, what'd you learn?
You've declared the Buccaneers will make the playoffs if Tom Brady is under center there.
McLevin, what did you learn today?
Reggie Miller says NBA players cheat.
Well, you can't trust them, I think, is what he was saying. Seton O'Connor, what did you learn?
Rick Pitino is back.
Yes, he is. Paulie.
Iona's not scheduling Louisville anytime soon.
I know. That was a quick answer. Would you schedule Louisville? No. Todd, what did I learn on today's award-winning program? Todd, I wasn't finished with it. Todd, what did I learn on today's
McLovin got great.
Todd, I'm not. Todd, what did I learn on today's award-winning program?
McLovin
Because I'd like to.
got great reviews on his first day Skyping to the show from New York.
What we learned brought to you by LegalZoom. Need to make it legal, make it LegalZoom.com. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the program. Thanks for joining us.